Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
Let's go, people. It's Super Cup time. We've got the scrims out the way. We've got the player cups out the way. Now we're going to be fighting out for the big money prize pool. And I just learned that this amazing gentleman, Taego, joining me, draws 2s from the bottom to the top. Let's know in chat how you draw your 2s, but I go from the top to the bottom, mate. How you been apart from practicing your number drawing this evening?
Oh, never better, never better. Now that I learned how to draw an E as well, that was something that was missing from my life for a good bunch of years. So that's good. We sorted that out, and we are ready to get sorted tonight. I'm excited. I'm happy to see some more TPP action. I'm happy to see a Super Cup. So this is kind of like the final stage of each circuit, right? We play in the circuit with the scrims, player cups, and then the Super Cups. So it's always nice to reach the end and like see the best lobby that we can make.
Well, before you give it away, let's show everyone actually how did we get here? Why are we at the Super Cup? What are we talking about when it comes down to all the scrims, and how did all these players get here? Well, fundamentally, you mentioned right, we've got 2 sort of circuits in. We've got a week 1 where these teams will be competing out. We do some scrims. The scrims, if you get enough points, where you'll be joined with the invited teams, and then you've got to duke it out for a top 8 position. Those top 8 will go through towards the next stage, and then we reset and start again for week number 2, and we do another cup where again we'll take the top 8, where we will be our grand tour of the Super Cup. Obviously, there are 2 different types of cups. We've got the Masters, but this one is the Super Cup. We'll be fighting out and duking out. So yeah, it is really, really good to see the teams that have qualified through. We had some explosive action. There's always a big topic of conversation, Taego. Week 1 stronger than week number 2, but I felt like week 2 last week didn't disappoint, as we had a lot of action and a lot of stars coming out the mix.
It got really equalized by PGS teams coming back, right? And that elevates the level of the lobby quite a bit. So we've had in the circuits before this, we had a bit of a weaker week 1. This time, I don't think we can say that at all. We had a lot of very good teams qualifying out of week 1, right? We had our FUT Esports, our Ascend popping off, the no-namers. I think they're playing as Hive now. I think they've undergone a bit of a name change, org change. So a lot of really, really strong teams that went out qualifying from week 1. But then we had some absolute monsters as well fill in the back, right? We had a Navi show up, and we had more and more teams coming back from the PGS, back from Shanghai, slotting into this lobby instantly, playing it out, and we ended up with a really strong week 2 as well.
Yeah, week 2. I was really impressed with week 2. I was sitting back thinking about it today, and yes, we had the show, and yes, they did destroy with like 82 points or something, which was great. But a couple of teams that really impressed me. Win or Die, fought done quite well. Skirmishes, and you mentioned really Navi. Navi played well. Obviously, you see new roster playing in as well, so Extend has been confirmed up. So that roster alone is settling down. But obviously, with the top 8 from week 1, and obviously now with the top 8 from week number 2, we are going to see a bit more of explosive action. All I can pray for, Koa, is we don't see a Bushido leave it into the last 2 games, because it was an explosive last 2 games, but talk about leaving it to the last minute.
Yeah, it was crazy. That would have been the upset of the tournament if they didn't make it, but they showed up at the last 2. I think they kind of, throughout both Super Cups, they were shining with rotations more than they were with fights, getting themselves in good spots. They were doing that in Super Cup, through both player cups. They were doing that in the first one, but then on the second day, they fell completely flat. And now in the second Super Player Cup, they kind of had a really, really slow start. But at the end, they put themselves in some good spots. They got the circles they needed, and they converted them easily, handily, qualifying them to the final stage here.
Well, that was the week 2. I want to touch on week number 1 as we are coming towards the end of the highlights. So there, and one of the teams just on the screen, actually FUT Esports, obviously doing well. We know T-Bone loves TPP, and we do take the mick out of him all the time, but they weren't the stars of the lobby. You talk about consistency, Fairy Tale, No Names were there. And when we look at the No Names team, it was really, really good from what I was watching, because you guys were covering it, was the amount of placement points this team could get, but more importantly, they're getting kills on the board. So really nice balance. Do you think this team's going to be able to do it again when it comes down to a super stacked lobby, or do they need to maybe go back and rethink about their game style?
I think they're going to be a team to watch. That is for certain. That's going to be really interesting. They have an amazing amount of talent on the team, similar like many teams that qualified from that first tournament, right? It is potentially the harder lobby, and we're going to be looking at them. We're going to be looking at Fairy Tale. We're going to be looking at, Ascend, FaZe Clan, SlamG, all those teams, right? Consistency-wise, it's just too fresh, that team, No Names or Hive now. That is too fresh to say, oh yeah, for sure they're going to do it. But they're 100% one of the teams that I'm looking at, and I'm thinking, okay, these guys, they should perform well here.
Yeah, look, again, I agree. I think they're a wild card. I think if they start really well, we're going to see some really good action. I think they're a team that can potentially hold placements as well. So if they get themselves in the end zone, it's going to be really good. Another good team, which actually fortunately didn't go through, was Storm G. They were really good to watch on week number 2. I was quite disappointed that they fell out at the last minute. But you touch on a team which I know is close to your heart, and that's Team Ascend. I want to talk about Team Ascend because they cruised their way through on the second week, the second passing.
Actually, first week this time.
It wasn't. First week, yes, right, because as I say, they normally cruise through in the second weeks, right? So they're definitely changing it up. Their game style is consistent. So they like to play the outside edge. They like to play a lot more controlled. But it just seems to be working. Like this team seems to be putting it together slightly different this time around. I really am excited to see what they can bring to the table today. I would like to see them get good early games because, again, we know they're a team that can get into placement. That we know they're a team that like to not follow the same style of pathing in. They take the gliders. They will take their own route in. I just hope they can hold up in the strength of this lobby again. Again, I don't know what your thoughts are with Ascend. I don't know if you've been able to talk to the guys before today or if they're going to be changing anything up, really.
They're going to be changing a lot of things up. They are trialing a new player today. They are trialing Serath.
Oh.
If you've been in the German scene, you know who he is. He's played on some teams that have made group stages as well. And they are looking for a 5th player or potentially a bench on Paints. They're not quite sure what the end result is. But they're trialing someone completely new, so things should be different from them. And again, that's a team that got 2nd place in the last Super Cup and qualified rather easily through the first weekly final here, through the first Player Cup. So they would have been one of those names that we're looking at to perform. Now, they're a question mark. We have to see how they do. This is very fresh still. They've barely gotten in one set of scrim with him. I think they've trialed a few players, but this is super fresh. And yeah, going to be very interesting to see from the outside in.
Oh, we love a change when it comes down to the end. A couple of teams, obviously, you can see here. Fairy Tail obviously top the group. So on the first week round, obviously, Footy Sports been quite consistent through here. So interesting to see what they can do. FaZe is another one for me to watch to see what they do. Rumors have it there might be sort of changes up. Not quite here though. We saw M-Man. We know they can perform. We have the fun about the Shrow Show. If the Shrow Show kicks off, then we know they're in for a good. But like we saw in the day number 2 the other week, it wasn't as strong for me. Will or Die mentioned, Navi mentioned. Curious Sentient, I think, is a good pick as well. Definitely to talk about because they're a team, especially from my side, that actually can do quite well. We've seen them do well before, but it's consistency, which I think this team struggles. So it seems like they're on a bit of upward trajectory. I'll be interested to see what they're going to do again for the sort of day number 1 here. But sometimes an outside bet, sometimes this team gets caught, especially when it comes down to serve rotations. And if they can't get into the zone, you see them drop out quite early.
Yeah, a very feast or famine kind of team, right? They were kind of getting carried through one of the days by salvages, by that Tekka's play, right? The triple nade onto Na'Vi and then some other late games. So not the most consistent team. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how Na'Vi performs. Again, like you touched on it earlier, new player on the roster. They're working him in as well. And then we have some teams that have come back time and time again, right? SlamG, Vorpaswords, Freeside, M-Man we've seen before. Fairy Tail we've seen before. Fairy Tail as well, like you gotta give them credit, right? They won a lobby with Foot Esports, Ascend, FaZe Clan, SlamG. They won that lobby, so you gotta give them a lot of credit here. And they're definitely a team that's going to be exciting as well. Yeah,
I agree. And you look at Miramar, they do pretty well. So obviously them coming in, it'd be interesting to see what they turn to do. Obviously, this is today's prize pool, by the way. This is the observers maybe in the production thinking they've claimed it already. No, Bushido's not in top spot as we stand, right? But this is the prize pool we're playing for. We're playing for 5k. Obviously, you can see it divided. It's down, and it's going to be that top spot. We are playing over 3 days, and it is best of 4 each day. So we've got 1 of each map as we will roll through, and I think that's a big topic of conversation as well, because like we have other circuits, especially when we do a best of 6, we've got a double Miramar, double Orangle, and I think a lot of teams are used to that. I think they're still not quite settled just playing one map because, as I mentioned again before, Carl, when we've got a Fairy Tail, they look good when it comes down to a Miramar. Sometimes struggle on the Orangles, and if they only get one opportunity and it's the first map we're going into, Fairy Tail need to have a good start.
Yeah, you can't be relying on one of the maps because they're done so fast, and you can't be fixing things in the second go around. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure on these teams for sure, but at least they got 3 days of games to do it all. We're starting with the first game. We're going to Miramar, as Mark has already alluded to. The plane's in the air, the players are in. We're going to be jumping over in just a second. No more yapping from us, and we're going to let the players show off what they practiced for.
Let's go. It's match number 1. Yapin Kemenchimin. Flight path, though, is an east, pushing more west, pushing down towards a little bit of a southwest, but it does go through the heart of the soul. That is going to be Miramar. Not a bad flight path to be kicking things off. Could be some early engagements. There could be some early grabs for some cars. But from a flight path point of view, Koa, I think this is a nice one to start off.
Yeah, couldn't be a whole lot fairer. This is super solid for a lot of our teams. FaZe Clan, a team we haven't talked a lot about. I'm going to take this moment. We see Mexi playing again. A lot of voices saying that is a permanent thing. I wouldn't be surprised. Mexi's a fantastic player. And when they picked him up as a coach, I was sort of making jokes about surely after the first event, he's in. And that might be what we're looking at. It's not confirmed yet. X10s on Na'Vi is confirmed. And Mexi on FaZe is not.
Let's talk about a super coach. I know you're a super coach as well, so I don't want to G you up just yet. I'm going to get to that. But he's someone that can step in and arguably with the length of experience he can bring to the table, you know he's going to be able to perform. So good to see. Obviously, he is playing. They're going to go for their normal drop zone, which is going to be Cruise. So they are going for the long drop. Teams obviously on the south side. And then the zone, well, it comes at mid-zone, pushing down towards that south side. Resort will be a temptation. But TTTS, well, they're going to be getting lost. And they will be happy there is no one contending them or neighbouring just yet.
Going to be chilling. Middle of the circle. That northwest of San Martin side looking a little crowded. A little dicey. Ascend not far from that either. Just sorting out their cars. It's going to be a very slow early game. There was a few car shuffles. There was a bit of a struggle for some of these teams getting the vehicles going. But I think everything else is looking like it's going to dissolve itself nicely. We're going to cruise into a mid game with a lot of players alive, potentially.
Well, this is the big thing for me, right? You mentioned this the other week when we was casting. This zone screams out, send an individual player. We've already seen Na'Vi. Na'Vi have pushed down towards the zone. I wouldn't be too surprised to see more teams. Maybe Chris is already on the move, where we're going to see them play an individual in towards the zone. Again, you can see Leosh then again. You mentioned this before. They're trying to find an opportunity to get into zone and try and hold out, more importantly. So I think it's been really, really key to watch some of these big star names, how early they're going to go and grab some of these spots.
100%. There's a team that does this extremely to the extreme. Is Twisted Minds usually. They would be in Power Grid. And we've seen it time and time again where Lou will go all the way into Los Leones with a bike, if he has one. Just roll on in, cruise on in, look around. Maybe he can catch one of the Los Leones players off guard. And if he doesn't, he'll get a whole lot of information for his team. And the rotation route for his team to group up, it doesn't go past any really high prio spots, right? So it's very easy to group up later on. You're not really disjointed by sending a player so early. And you could tell there from the way Leosh is moving, he's basically just took a page out of the Twisted Minds playbook, and he's trying to get away with that.
Yeah, you're right. Gain the position. If you can gain the information on the way, I think it's key. Other part is keeping alive. We see some people not quite do it right. They do, unfortunately, roll the dice and they roll into another team. But for now, Leosh, he has gone further in towards the zone. He's parked his car nicely, aka beached it potentially, but he can see Storm G obviously going to be moving their way in. Now, he's going to be able to get back towards a little bit of hard cover. But he takes the opportunity now just to scout around. Again, trying to gain more information. See where these teams are going to put up. See where they're going to sort of position themselves for this zone. Because it is game number 1. As Kara mentioned, we are playing over 3 days. So there's a lot of PUBG action. What you don't want to be doing, especially if you're Leosh, you're getting caught out in the middle. A Storm will fly on past.
He's getting the information. He's making that approach a whole lot easier for his team. I'm going to see the compound on the right free. I'm going to scout that for Levante, who can cruise on in. Maybe even get a little bit aggressive if he picks off a solo here, but summon requests are decently grouped. Should be just fine. But yeah, Levante's trying to beat them to the compound. They want this too, though, so he's got to be a little wary. He's got to be a little careful to not go too deep. And Leosh is the anchor in the back, the one that gives them all the information, scouts all of this out, and makes sure Levante stays safe, make sure Gerox can group up whenever you want to. This is all according to plan still for Win or Die, even if they got beaten to the compound.
Yeah, is a potential beat to the compounds. Have to wait and see. French on the other hand, well, they've sort of positioned themselves up. And they are now going to try and hold. Molovo looking to get the first kill on the board. And Vorpal sword, there we go. It's done and dusted. That's an early loss for them. A team which we know has been pretty consistent as well. It looks like you get more early action. Oh, no, Secura sensing the team we talked about trying to get through. They brushed past. And actually, Taego's, well, they're going to pass by a free side. They're going to be down. And there's our second kill. Instant action here for game number 1.
That's an early loss. That's real bad. You hate to see it.
Yep.
Not what you like. Jessica Zensen coming out of such a good spot as well. Instantly down to 3. And I said we'd have a quiet early game, but the rotation's really not going according to plan for some of these teams. 59 players, we started with 63. There's a lot of players going down. Boostic. Trying to do more Boostic things, trying to pop some heads. Win or Die have not gotten the compound they originally wanted, but they have backfilled Storm on request, so they do have that warehouse. And if the zone goes anywhere towards the north, they're in a fantastic spot.
I think this is the play, right? This is what these teams are hoping it's going to play in between here. Win or Die, putting themselves in a good position. Storm will be happy again, as they did race to this position. Now, normal rotation out. They send the player early. Obviously, that will then try and lock down. So, again, information. Do like this compound because you can keep your cars, give or take, pretty safe until later game. Interesting, we haven't seen anyone really rotate round towards the south side or playing a little bit more aggressive on the south side. And again, we've got teams back on the north. We've got Ascend still sitting up there as well. They've not quite moved yet. This is the most southern team. It's Football Sword after losing one. They've scrabbled down towards the south to pick up some more cars, but they're moving back towards that kind of fairy tale position. Just wait and see. And there's a bit of a draw of the card, but most of these teams have centered up here and expecting the zone to shift to this northwest side of Bloss.
That's gonna get mighty crowded. Gonna get very, very crowded. The Los Leones area is a bit rough to traverse, so the edges of it is what really gets stuck and so congested. Everybody that can wrap around and has a good wrap around goes for it. But if you have a look at the map here, !map, if you're interested in seeing the rotations a little bit more, if you're interested in learning a bit more from these teams, you can see M-Man, for example, right? Realizing we're not going to get these best spots. We're not going to get the prio here. We're just going to set up a rotation camp. We're going to see if we can catch someone off. They're not going to get anything here. But wrapping around isn't as easy as you would like it to be. It can be quite tricky at times, and teams are trying to punish you for doing it.
Talk about punishment here. Vorpal's sword straight into the action. Back on the defense, they get some points back. Hive, as we know, new name, new banner, same team, same name, same firepower. They get one back. Presenti, he's going to cause some damage, but they're bleeding. They're bleeding hard. They need to keep the fight. They need to keep the pressure on. Vorpal's sword, well, Subila is going to bring some reinforcements. That might actually force Hive to back away slightly.
Good to reset. Flush comes through. Rocks on his knees as well. Ain't looking good for the freshly picked up squad. Presenti trying to get away. He is going to get away for now because there's a necessary res for Vorpal swords. But he is now down to his own devices. Schengen nowhere close. FaZe Clan pulling an EP here is interesting. With 1 minute left on the clock, they probably just got it up. They are gonna see what the zone does. It's gonna arrive, I think, a little bit before the zone pops.
Yeah,
and Brex is lining that up. Look at that. Brex is looking if he can punish them a little bit here. They still got 30 seconds. They might get in range in time.
Yeah, he's lined that up. He's now joysticking the boys in. It's Chris leading the charge. And it's heard it. And they need to get pretty tight. They might want to pop some smokes out, try and block some more line of sight. Kilo Guy's going for a full send. He wants to get right up in the face of FaZe here. I think they're just out of time. They are going to be up. Oh, huge nade comes in. Oh, it doesn't quite get the connection, but the shots do. Win or die. And a send. Kilo Guy gets it. Mixie goes down. He's able to get the kill, and FaZe are punished, though, from this EP.
That is classic Mexi as well. When that man was on Team Liquid, someone gets shot out of rotation, it was Mexi 100% of the time. Now it's on the EP and his fate continues. That man's head must be massive. He always just gets popped out of every single transportation method he can get himself in. FaZe Clan punished. Didn't have enough control for that EP. Could have maybe smoked it off. Didn't want to cost themselves the vision. Now they're going in, and Akeme has overstayed his welcome. Is he even going to get out? Barely. Barely, because FaZe are coming in, and they're already low HP from all the shots that were coming in earlier.
Not just the shots, though. The zone pops back towards the northwest, so they had to get out. Now it goes down, they should be able to get the res back on. And obviously, with the players disengaging from Tuntun, they are unable to apply the pressure. FaZe get away lightly there. That grenade, especially from Win or Die, could have been punishing for them from game number one. But as I mentioned, that zone shift goes back towards that northwest. Picardo completely free in ascend. Well, they're traversing around the bowl. They're going to get lots of information here, but Navi called it right. Nice 2-2 split for them and a greedy hold.
Loving it until it gets punished. So if they can bluff this off, if they can figure out a way to keep Ascend at bay, we just saw Ascend approaching there on the map, then that's absolutely fine, but they have to be ready to group. A lot of teams around them will already know that they are split, and if we're looking at Hakatori as well, that man is very, very far down the hill. He's not even in the compound. It's not even a 2-2 split, right? Hakatori is in the shack here, so whenever any sort of pressure comes into the team, whenever any sort of pressure comes into Sosset on the hillside, I'm a little worried for Na'Vi. So they are playing with fire, but sometimes, you know, no risk, no fun. And they are definitely trying to keep their options open for all kinds of circles still.
The Hakatori surprise attack is what you're telling me. You know, he's waiting for someone to drive on by. First, on the other hand, well, he's doing interesting techniques. as he's just repainting the floor slightly, and hoping, praying that someone crashes in and he can be in range to make it a bit more explosive. That might be a slight giveaway if he drops the can right by the door. And the send will be looking on over, but no need for them just to move just yet. Hive on the map have moved around towards the northwest corner. Picardo store completely free. Storm storing that compound we saw them take early. No need for them to move. Arguably not a bad shift from a lot of these teams. They're going to be able to find a bit more space, and we've still got 16 teams up. Only lost a few players. Lots of room still to play early game here.
We have lost 7 players though, so a lot of teams losing members already. A lot of teams forced to play a bit more passive than they would maybe like to. And a lot of teams with less information, less space than they would love to. So, a bit uncomfortable for a lot of our squads. Ascend, similar to Na'Vi, taking a lot of space here. Trying to get all the information they can. Rex puffering off as well, making sure nobody gets close. We'll know that that's a 2-man as well. They will know that there's been lots of stuff happening in the kill feed, so he's just going to read this and say there's a duo in the shacks. If the zone goes hard west and we really want them, we'll keep that in mind. We'll keep that in mind, maybe not for phase 3, but for phase 4. It does go west now, but it doesn't. Information not going to matter a whole lot. Ascend are going to have to look into Na'Vi. Na'Vi are going to have to look into grouping at some point. And then M-Man, they're still out in the blue. They're still where they were camping rotations earlier.
Wait and see. Zone shift back. A lot of teams still remain. I think it comes back down to how aggressive and how much of a hold does Na'Vi want to continue. And then the other side of it is, can Hakator even get out of his position that he's got hunkered down? South side though, we've got M-Man. I need to rotate around the sort of south of Los Leones. It's not an easy path to drive, but again, it's still quite free for them. Conquest on the other side of this zone, on the southern part, as Bushido looking to do the same, as they will also rotate round. Obviously, both these sides of these teams are going to try and take a high point on the corners. I won't be too surprised at some point Bushido's either going to turn their way towards Conquest here or continue moving around, and they might clash with M-Man.
It's a possibility. They're going to take the first route in that's going to be given to them. The question is, how much presence is Conquest really showing here, right? If Conquest doesn't show at all, there's a good chance Bushido does go in. Here we have it. Ascend applied the pressure, and Na'Vi just gave up the bluff. They folded the bluff. They realized, okay, we're playing our compound, and that's just all we need. Shots come in, instantly connecting. Driving past Na'Vi, you are going to get headshot a lot of the time. Presenti does feel that now, but they are making a send, quite a late send actually, to the middle of this circle. They're so late, you could almost wonder if they should have maybe just waited longer and sent it into phase 4. But they decided that this was the time to go for them, and they get themselves dead center, which isn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, but I'd say it's a gamble. It's a complete gamble, but they're in the center. Arguably, any kind of shift, even if it's putting them on the outside, it's going to force them still within a topic of conversation, especially towards the late game. Boosted gets Dreadrocks down, as we do see Slam G making the aggressive stance towards that win or die position. There's that confirmation. There's another player gone down to 55 now, and a lot of teams have mentioned before yet they are bleeding. They haven't lost the whole team just yet, so sacrifices have been made. No team lost, but it's getting to that time. Phase number 3, not as much zone to play. Teams are setting these stalls out, and surprise, surprise, Hakatori's still hiding out in the position.
Still in the shack, they're waiting to spring the trap. They're hoping that something goes their way, and a team starts getting aggressive. And if you can see it, right? You can see on the map, if free side get aggressive towards the top compound here, Hakatori is instantly going to backstab that. He's going to wait till they take full aggro, and then he's going to stand up and shoot them in the back, and they would absolutely destroy free side here. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Now, Purple Swords want to get in as well, but Xerath says no. Nice little headshot with the MK. Gets the damage in. Looking for a second here. Might get it as well, because that car is worse for wear. 2 for Xerath. Nice start to the day. He's already got 1 confirmed as well. That was one of the phase kills, I imagine. Looking good right now.
It's looking good, and they don't need to rush. They've got a wonderful way in on the zone that's going to follow that blue in nicely. We're going to try and position the other side of things. Footy Sport getting pretty close to Tuntun's now. Bushido, they did go for the full wrap, but we have found them now just on the other side of the screen. You can see them now in the southeast corner. So again, a little bit more of a sandwich as these players and teams have been drawn closer. And Hive, yes, we saw them make the gamble, make the run. They've been paid off, but here's this game plan you're talking about, Koho. What point, if you're Hakatori, do you activate and start playing around into free side? Because it's not quite a free side when you've got Hakatori sitting here.
Yeah, this is going to be really rough. This is super interesting. They've had this plan for such a long time, right? They've set this up from so long ago, Na'Vi. And we can see how it's going to work out. The only problem that I see is that Sakura might come in as well. But Sakura doesn't have to go to this compound. Now with the knock coming in, Sakura might decide to come back, but I don't think they are. They're going for the dirt road. They're just going to set themselves up for survival. Saucet caught. If he gets rezzed here, Na'Vi should be okay. Why should they be okay? Extens is still standing. And Hakatori is on the backstab, but as I say that, the flush comes through. That's real bad for Na'Vi, and the backstab is so much less effective now.
Whoa, football swords come flying in as well. Whee! He goes down, full sends. Another nade goes through. Interesting. Hakatori now activating. He's now going to come behind them. He's going to draw an angle. But got to be careful. He can't give away the footsteps now, but he's got to apply some pressure. So I said it's down, so Na'Vi is to a 3. Let's get this U2 out. They've launched up 2 of the big nades. We do see Freeside trying to get that res back on, but you can see the map. Ascend have looked aggressive here. They've played the outside edge, and now there's blood in the water. They're also sniffing for a potential third party, fourth party, if you classify Vorpal Sword into this compound.
Oh, the angle's good. The timing is good. Extens gets himself 1-2. He wants the flushes now, but he gets punished for it. 1 bullet was all he needed if he would have just committed to the spray.
What? Hit the bar? Why did he not continue the fight? He went early. I'm going out with Sue. He's going to fall down. It's going to be down to a duo here. I think that's a bit of a mistake under pressure here. Ferris, the T player, who doesn't go under pressure easily. He then works his way through. Going to get the confirmation. 1 store upstairs, 2 versus 1. Ascend also looking to try and close in as Ferris. Well, he's going to look for cook the grenade. He's going to try and get any information he can, but the best thing he can do is just wait for Hakatori just to join up with him.
Ay. Disaster. I don't think he thought he would get that much support, right? There was so much damage coming into that player. He only needed 1 bullet. But he thought he had to take a whole other 1v1 while getting pretty fired, while potentially getting naded in that room as well. So he thought, I'm going for the 2 flushes. And that's not even a bad play. I think he just didn't have the full picture. He didn't have the full idea of what was actually going on. So rough times for Na'Vi. Their trap doesn't work out the way they intended it to. Mogori knocked by the Farmers on the other side. Slam G looking good initially in that fight, but Kaido makes them work for it.
Falling apart. The zone said goodbye. It's going to allow Storm the opportunity to get the res back on. Slam G on the outside of 18 seconds to go. He either makes a commit and it's going to be a trade out, or he has to work his way towards zone. Saying that, he's got other problems now. Does get Levante down. K-Del makes the run out. The Famous going to be just on the outside. Oh, he gets punished. Hello, my bad. Pops round the window. Lucky enough, he's got the res. Here comes the blue zone. He's going to force Storm in towards win or die. Again, a team looking pretty aggressive here. The confirmations will go out, looking to try and get some more points under the board for them. And hello, my bad. Hearing the gunshots, backs away. Knows there's more people here as he's looking to continue to keep the fight.
Both these teams gonna be struggling to get in. Sakura gets blasted on the other side of the map. I think they were going for the dirt road, but they have been cleaned up from range and up close. Foot destroys Bushido on the Los Leones exit as well. While these northern teams, they have already been destroyed. The major part. Last first aid now for 210. Cheeky name switch from him. That was something with kilograms 210 last time around. But he's going to have to step into the open here, and he's going to get backstabbed in 1, 2, 3. And GG.
Oh, he gets the kill as well.
Yeah, no chance. No chance. Just not having the meds to close that out. 10 teams now, as Lurix caught as well. And Hive, yeah, they sent it middle, and they're still in.
Look at that. Bushido, I was watching the map feed. They handed their life on a plate towards Foot Esports. Grenades will go through, or they will not. Looking for the confirmations now. TT have to try and play their way in phase. Do have the high ground. So Tuntun needs to be cautious, but they can see Vex. He picks up Vard now. T-Bone looking to reposition, but they can't go too high up here because other teams will be able to punish him. Big nade from Pixel goes over the top. Nades fall downhill. Better though, as Ainsley goes down. And Vex, well, he's now got a green light to continue that push. No major. Oh, he gets enough one, but he gets caught by Presenti. Long distance range, and the play for Hive is playing out so far.
Working out until the next shift comes in and they have to move into the open field. But so many teams are just falling apart. Na'Vi Ascent now on the northern side is a fight that has to happen as well. These fights on the south, they have to happen. Nobody is in here. And Ascent gets the opening knock. Keely finds the nade. That's popping off for sure. And Na'Vi, they were wishing they had more players than this. They wished they had a bit of manpower. Ascent cleaned them up. 8 teams remaining now. And look at that map mark. Where do you go? There's just nothing apart from the compound.
This is horrible, horrible. We're in CPP, we're in the field, we're losing every bit we can to hide cover. Ascend have played it well, they're now clear on the top. They can reset and think about how they move in. We've seen Hive also now lose the zone position as well, as Esports FaZe and Tuntuns, well, they all need to get pretty aggressive, especially if they want to try and sweep underneath, but they're going to be third party from Ascend, they're going to be third party from Hive. If they go the other way, well, we're going to see them roll into M-Man because they don't need to crest that hill just yet for Fairy Tail. I think those two teams will be happy neighbors.
Gonna be chilling. Nades come in,
oh,
nicely
wow.
Combined. 1 HP left on the solo player. That's another good nade, right? Yes.
Done.
Oh, it's the flush nade. It's the flush nade. The knocked player drops one to deny the kill. Would have gone off anyways. Would have gone out anyways, but that's a nice deny. Foot can now reset this and at least get themselves a little bit closer. Maybe get themselves closer, then FaZe can. But what is that? Shengen, what is that headshot in the smoke as well? Pops out Pixelic. And FaZe smell this, right? FaZe know, okay, this is probably the best chance for us to get any points at all. On the other side of the map, Ascend has made the breach as well.
Ascend have gone the whole way across. They didn't have to rush. They could have waited for third party, but Ascend want this game number one. They're taking the fight to the base of Fairy Tail. They know this is the cover there. They want to be stuck out in the field and get caught. They're going to apply the pressure. That's going to force potentially Fairy Tail into positions where they might get caught against M-Man. So not in the best position. James, Nate still remaining up. FaZe on 1 kill. T-Bone has been knocked. Here's Fairy Tail get the first knock.
There's a sweep coming out. Or FaZe, James and Alep gonna have to do it all. Looking for that player, unsure where to find him. 80's got a good angle here. You can look over the smokes. We're not quite sure, but he's heard them, that's for sure. Flush comes out on T-Bone. And Alep over the top. Sees him in the smoke. FaZe clan stay alive. 5th place for them and a few kills is way more than they could have imagined from this game. Thinking about how it started. Same can be said for Hive, honestly. Really good salvage for them to get themselves so deeply into this field and keep so many players alive.
Salvage. Victors. The duo. Dangerous play. It plays off so well for them. And man, they don't want to go out of a fight just yet. They got the blue on their back and they're going to clear out FaZe. That's going to send FaZe out in 5th place. Here we go for our top 4. Game number 1. It's a 4 versus 4 versus 3 versus 2. Ascend aggressive stance in towards Fairy Tail. But Hive, the dangerous duo, now have the freedom to move into that north position. Ascend in a good spot. Fairy Tail arguably in some hard cover. And it's all down to M-Man. Will the Shark with the sneakers be able to run their way through Fairy Tail?
Gonna be tricky. 4-man up though. Gonna see how much util they still have left. Anybody's has no lethals. Shro has plenty. And whoever we were just watching has a bit as well. So 5 nades. 1 blue zone. Blue zone the close range building. Blue zone wherever you spot enemies. Not just to knock them or kill them, but just to suppress them, right? Either they're running away from the blue zone or they're healing. So the blue zone is extremely powerful here. Gonna see where they put it. It is Mossboard that has it. And it's gonna have a big impact, but Mad Negative is already caught.
I love the blocking off the line of shots though. Now it's not for the field, he's trying to try and block the line of shots. But Spray comes in, catches Bomalovo there.
No way.
He's gonna follow that nade back up. If that bounces through the window, that is a Shro show. It does actually get caught on the door. Not bad. Bomalovo understands he's under pressure, runs towards the nades. As it looks like M-Man's praying to the PUBG gods for the Shro show. As the Doritos will now start to fall. Let's give them a little bit of cover. They're taking the card. They don't want to run their way through. They're going to take the ridgestone. They're going to take the fight potentially to ascend. This is a dangerous fight for them because it's going to allow the movement for Fairy Tail to backstab them, to side swing this M-Man show because they have to keep the pressure on not just Fairy Tail now, but also Ascend.
Yeah, and they've used half the util now. They've used half the util on the compound. Now they're going to try to use the other half on Ascend. Breck's already running away from the potential nade. Backs off nicely, but that hay bale is now gone. A little bit of cover removed for Ascend, and I think that might have been the last nade for M-Man now. We've seen them all fly. Now they're worse for wear. Now the pickings are very slim. The zone's closing in. They've got no space. They've got to run this in. They are lucky that Hive is alive here, Mark, because if Hive wasn't alive, Ascend would be stepping up, but they don't have to. Fairy Tail is, and just like that, 2 members down.
Fairy Tail. I love the dusty dunes, but love this Mad Negative. We know how explosive he's been in this series. Fairy Tail did go for the side swipe, though. They have got the numbers down, and it looks like the confirmations have been stolen away. Ascend, they're going to be happy with this one. Bomberlivo just plays the peekaboo. He does catch him as well, so he's going to go down. Mad Negative going to be out, and there we go. M-Man going to fall. 4th place for them. The movement wasn't going to be the case. There was a shark out of water, and Ascend, well, they're still going to hold. Interesting, during all that action, we actually did see Hive lose a player as well. So Ascend and Fairy Tail not dropping the ball just too yet, but I wouldn't count this duo out.
That's bad. That's bad for Ascend. That really, really hurts. They try to get that res. They almost lose Kiliakai for it as well. But Ascend now down to 2. Remember, they arrived here with 4. We didn't quite see how Xerath went out. That was the first one. And then Brex just caught there at the very, very end. A massively impactful knock. It could have been looking good for the win in this game. Now it's looking like Fairy Tail has all of the cards. Iskris, he wants to step up already. He wants to make the run. He wants to get inside that smoke to even have a chance. And look at it. He's got in. He's got high ground. He's got the Groza. If he can get a second here, if he can find Brightside, it's massive. He does.
2.
How?
2. It's Chris. How do you mean how? It's Chris. The guy is a legend. He's going to get confirmation. He's going to draw some cover while he can. He needs to get a med on now. Going to be relying on the players, but this is where we might see Hive activate. They've got no tires in the car. They've got open field, but if Kiliakai and Chris is under fire, they get the opportunity to claim the zone. Watch Presenti, watch Schengen. They're going to start moving their way in on the zone now, but it's Chris. Come on, you can't count that guy out, Kobo.
No, Killy set himself on fire with the molly. The molly probably got shot mid-air. Chris has no bullets. Oh, what is happening in this game? Kill stolen by Hive.
Chris!
He's got 14 bullets in the Groza, Mark. He's going to peek over. He's going to spot conf. No, he doesn't have line of sight. No chance. He's probably just going to be walking into the open and instantly taken out here. He's got so little room to play with, and Hive isn't giving him an opening. Fairy Tail isn't either. It's so disastrous for Chris, but he's already ruined Fairy Tail so much.
Yeah, he's put on to even kill. Schengen says, thank you very much. It's Chris. You pieced the numbers apart. Now we can take a 2 versus 3. Unfortunately, though, for Schengen, no helmet here, but doesn't matter. Presenti storming ahead. Conf will go down 2 versus 2. They're not going to be able to get the res, surely, and the zone is coming in. Heavy util, well, there's not much left. There's a couple of flashes. Smokes have been dissipated, but it screams out for a Miramar field ending.
It's winnable. It's not over just yet. No helmet. On Schengen, but Presenti's made the run. I say that, taken out immediately. Level 3 gear for Bombilovo. He pops up, takes him down. It's not over just yet. 1 single bullet into Conf. But look at that helmet. Not available. Fairy Tail, 7 frags. He said they had to perform on Miramar. They definitely did. Ascend, though, 9 frags. And it's Chris just stealing the show there at the end.
Ascend, ascend, ascend. Let's not take anything away from Fairy Tail. They loved the Miramar. They loved the sandy dunes, and they played it well. But oh my God, Chris. Talk about making it hard for them to close that one out. He stormed the castle with no bullets, kicking and screaming his way near enough to a victory from Ascend. But actually, really good play. Let's go back a little bit. Ascend played in so well. We saw them control the top side. We saw their rotations back in and around as they climbed the outside edge. They could have easily stepped on a lot of landmines from Na'Vi all the way through to the win or dies, but they controlled the game well. And as a result, they got some great kills and arguably some good placement.
Yeah, they just lost a little bit too much. Lost too many members. Their Extens, he thinks he's out of the water, but look at the HP. Look at the HP on that last Purple Swords player. Could have been doable. Could have been oh so doable. But yeah, I mean, for Ascend, it was looking really good when they were 4-man up in that field, right? And yes, they were always in the weaker spot. They were pinched in. Hive were a huge problem. If they would have somehow kept numbers up, and if even Brex wouldn't have gotten knocked, could have been a thing. But Chris just deciding, I'm not doing anything down here. I'm not living long enough. I need to get something going. And just storms up, catches them completely off guard, gets himself 2. Crazy stuff.
Great game. Great game. Talk about crazy stuff. We mentioned it. They're full send from Hive right into the middle of the zone. They went down numbers early and they had to play all the way through. I'm back. Surprise. Double check. Guys, let's break. I've got a point to make, production. I want to talk about Hive because they sent it to the middle, right? And it was a risk. We're always going to get the zone. They're always going to get the zone from there, but they were down some bodies. And do you know what? For digging themselves out into a second place and the amount of kills that we saw them getting, insane play. So big kudos to them. A great start from that team.
Solid stuff. It's a solid spot to be in as well, right? It's only a shack, but there's so much unplayable around you that nobody can really get all that close to you, and you should always still have space in the late game. So I love that from Hive, but we have talked enough. Production has already sent us to the break once. We're going to let them send us to a break another time, and we'll be back with game number 2 in just a few minutes.
This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're
welcome back, everyone. It's always a short break here. Why? Because it's TPP fighting time. We can't hold Chris back anymore. He wants to go fight people. But there was lots of action, lots of team actually really showing what they've got to bring here over the 3 days. And actually a good start for some of them, Koa. Great highlights. And I think the points will reflect the hard work that some of these teams put on the board.
Yeah. I mean, rough circle for a lot of these teams, right? Not a lot to play, just a little bit of feel, but some teams making really just the most out of it. Ascend going early, Hive going super late at the edge there. Maybe a bit of a problem for Ascend as well, right? That Hive was there the whole time, but everybody who made it into the field got themselves a really good spot, and then everybody that had good compounds was able to at least get themselves a few frags. So points rather well distributed in this one. Lots of teams getting themselves with 7, 6, 4, right? And that's what you want to do in a game that's so hard. Only 2 teams going out with 0. We didn't quite see what happened to Bushido. I know they got absolutely blasted by Foot. They were probably just somehow had to send it right into them or something, but they got just torn apart.
Yeah, I was watching the map feed at the time. So they came from the south. They actually came from that southwest. They went to the southeast. The zone shifted away and they sent it forward. And where we came back to foot in that bowl, that's where Bushido decided to park their cars. Unfortunately, they parked on a landmine that would have been for Esports. So nice kills from them. They actually bagged themselves 6. Very, very good. I'm quite surprised that Win or Die only got 3. We saw them a lot in the kill feed here, Koa. They were being an aggressive team. They were trying to claim space. They were chasing down kills. We saw them on the third party. We saw the nade for them for FaZe. So, yes, they might not have got the points. Yes, they might not have got the placement, because you're right. It was a crazy zone when it came down to it. But I kind of also like how they're telling us how they want to play this one. And that is the aggressive stance. That's what I like about Win or Die.
Yeah, for sure. And there's nothing wrong with getting 3 points in a game, right? It happens. This is completely fine for everybody, even if you're at the low side of the scoreboard. Doesn't matter at all. Who it matters for is the top teams. It matters for a Fairy Tail, it matters for an Ascend, a Hive, getting off a good start, and especially winning a game. But just getting off to a good start, getting a few points on the board already is massive here. Remember, we are in the Super Cup now. We're not just playing for top 8 anymore. We are playing for prize money. We're playing for $5,000. Every point counts. Every game counts. We're going to talk a little bit about what happens in the next week in a second here, because we have another week just around the corner of TPP action. But just to sort of get you guys up to speed, there's the prize pool split with a Fairy Tail currently in first. They haven't earned the money just yet, but if they stay there, $1,800 will go their way.
Every week's TPP week, and every week we've got more money to give out. But you're right. Obviously, we are working through the circuit at the moment, and the end of this circuit is the Super Cup, and that's where the big money is. And then we go for a reset as we grind it through again for Masters 2. That's going to be coming up. And again, make sure you guys, we get some links in chat. You can sign up, you can play, you can get yourself through, but you've got to get qualifying. You've got to get through the Players Cup if you want to be at the end stages like these, and there are big prizes up for grabs. Good game number 1.
Yeah.
I do want to quickly talk about FaZe though, because despite nearly going out explosive quite early on, they actually salvaged not a bad game. They emergency dropped in on top of Tuntun, they backed him away, and they were able then to hold, and I think they showed their discipline actually to be able to get to a top spot. They went out in 5th, but good amount of kills in the context of actually where they had to play from, and they were on the back foot the whole time.
It's a classic FaZe. It's a crazy early game. They are very aggressive early game a lot of the time. This time not so aggressive, just a little bit overzealous maybe, just getting caught off, and then they salvage massively. That's just kind of what they do, and that's what they do so successfully. And them getting out for Esports, they're outnumbered, right? They're not in the better spots, but they managed to clear them out. They managed to get themselves a 5th place, a 6th place, something like that, with a few frags. Super solid game, because they have the individual talent. They just have so much talent on that roster, even now playing with Nailup. Not sure if that's a trial or if that's permanent. We'll see. But they have frag in power, and they have smart players on the roster. We're in for match number 2 on that Taego. And just like that, we're almost at the halfway point of the night.
Halfway point, it sounds so wrong. Only 4 games, 1 game each time around. As we roll the dice, and it's now time to Taego as we come from the west down towards the east. Arguably, again, not a bad flight path, pretty much generic across the middle. It does tease us more with that northwest corner. Teams like the Ascend, where they're going to try and jump towards that army base. And you remember from last week, they jumped down to the south and they took the early E pickup all the way towards the north, and they had a good game from there as well. So, again, a team that played really well. Game number 1, expectations, and they do play Taego really, really nicely as well. This is not a bad flight path for them.
Not a bad flight path for most of our teams here. Tung 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 Sahur. I have to be a little careful here. Dante gets the car, goes away. It's a classic Pod Samulet kind of loot spot here for Dante, Presenti, Roxen, Schengen. Godok. The also dreaded Godok. If you're casting with Mark Powers, he's scared of the zone going there every single time. And then eastern side of the map looking a little dodgy for vehicles as well. Ascent's going to get out. And then Conquest there on the east. Looking a little dodgy. Mounty at least might contest for a vehicle. But so outnumbered, I'm sure he's not going to go all too crazy.
Jeez. Early zone. Very much on the west. Teases us with a north and south. We can divide up the maps. We can use the AI. I can argue about the AI. But there's a fundamental. There's a huge river going through the middle. There's lots of water out on that sort of west-hand side, mate. And there's a couple of teams. Bushido's in a great spot. Tuntun in a good spot as well if they want to potentially collapse into a middle-ish. But these teams are going to have to potentially at some point draw a line in the sand. Actually, where do we expect it to go? Do we expect it to play for the north? Do we expect it to play for the south? And I won't be too surprised to see some teams maybe leave a player or two on the other side.
Yeah, this is really tricky. These 50-50 circles are hard to maneuver, especially when you have early prio. And especially when you're ready early, right? If you're Tung 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 Sahur right now, do you just commit to the north? Do you just try and play compounds on the north? Or do you try and maybe hold down the bridge instead? But then it's a double bridge, right? It has 2 levels. It's very hard to camp and it's very hard to hold. And then suddenly, maybe if the zone goes north, somebody has taken the compounds to your north and you don't have anything anymore. But what if you take the compounds and the zone goes south, right? There's so many questions to answer here. There's so many tricky things to maneuver for every team that has any sort of prio. This is not an easy one. This is a tough task. And especially when we're not sure where it's going to end up. We might know around when phase 2 comes around. We might only know when phase 3 comes around where this zone goes. Very, very hard for these players and a lot of questions to be answered.
I think that's why we're seeing, so in the game number 1, you speak about it, you've got the big depth of knowledge, and that's why you're a great coach, amazing caster as well. But you saw one player go forward. Look at this map here. We're seeing not just one player, we're seeing a full teams go in. They're not quite sure. They're trying to make sure they got the numbers because they know teams coming this way, it's going to be a commitment. And talk about a commitment here, Tuntun. Well, got the Panzer, and it's going to be Sentai. Goes for the miss, he goes for the copy, he gets the kill. Not just squad, he backs 2, and Tekis goes down again first. Confirmation on Keta and Sakura Sensen. What a compound to pick, but hey, we've already got teams here. Tuntun is locking in to stay.
Oh, that is crazy. The Panzerfaust misses, but he gets himself 2 regardless. Now he has teammates, and I think He-Man has cruised right into the backup here. He's cruised right into the teammate of AT. Just like that. They're going to lose 3. They're going to lose 4. Iroh, goodbye. Sakura Zensen out with 0. Back to back.
4 minutes. 4 minutes.
Crazy aggressive early. I don't mind the play in general, but the execution was rough.
Oh my god, time. Kadoosh! And he spins up Mr. Panzer. Then he tucks in, lets the spray come through, and he backs himself in the corner. I quite like this in the mode though, because you can see a lot more. Nice positioning, great use, and look at that. Akim takes his time, and the third party action, or say the third party action, the final player from Tuntun, long distance shots will come through, forces the player to move, and thank you very much. We can now spread back out, 2-2 split. Nobody challenge us.
You love to see it, right? You love to get yourself a 4-point injection at the start of the round. It really doesn't hurt at all. No problem. No problem for them. Keeping the members up. Getting all the gear they could ever want now as well. They can put some in the cars and spread it out later. I think for now the priority is to hold the split, right? Plenty of other teams will be coming your way. And an extended break. The boys from Sakura Zensen. Time for a rank top drop maybe. They'll have to wait a good 30 minutes for the next match.
That's painful. That is painful. And they're a team, they're a team. I love watching the team. They can play aggressive if they have a good start. If they have a bad start, momentum is the team that gets linked up with Sakura Sense. And we saw some outstanding play. Yes, they lost bodies the other week, right? But we saw Tekkas dig deep. But at the moment, Tekkas can only dig deep if he stays alive. And both games here, he's been one of the first to fall. So they've got a huge amount of time now to unfortunately have a reset. But it's a reset. They've got to write these two games off. We're halfway through after this one for them. Now they've got, oh my goodness, Levante nearly levanted Bomalovo to the next map as well. As the Panzer shows its effects, don't come crashing my compound. And there's another Taego. Maybe time to Taego. It's time to Panzer fast.
You could see how helpless he was there, right? He's running away as fast as he can, and he still just gets blown to bits. No way to get out. FaZe Clan getting challenged on their edge. And FaZe Clan is not a team that likes to be challenged, but I think they might have just sent a vehicle into the water or something like that, because there was a weird vehicle switch going on there. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, that looks like
the submarine.
Yep, that's wow. Damn, that's steep. Okay, I was ready to laugh a bit, but Jesus Christ, you don't want to go diving here.
We've all been on those beaches, but you're walking out, it looks good. There's the drop-off. It's a Taego drop-off. Yeah, nicely parked. The submarine will
Can't park there, mate.
Yeah, you can't park there, mate. FaZe have to keep moving on. An interesting Storm again being aggressive. What's happened? Game number 1 was just everyone getting the nerves up because from game 2, it was just aggressive. Here's Moss. He's going to wait for Will Dye to go by. Great spray. Jedvox will go down. He repositions, looks for the car. How am I bad to be there? He knows he needs to potentially get to that car and get out of here. But for now, he's going to try and get the confirmation. Surprise, surprise. There's a point on the board here for EMEA. A team, again, I think they made the wrong decision last game. I think they should have worked aggressively through Win or Die. They put themselves in a position where actually, Win or Die for a Fairy Tale, where Fairy Tale was actually able to cause damage to them.
Yeah, it was a tricky spot, right? They were looking for that entry, and then it goes the other way, and Negative gets knocked, and that goes like, oh, wow, okay, now we have to commit to the res. Now, half of our smokes are going to dissipate while we're resing this, and all sorts of issues arise. With the blue zone, I think we saw that blue zone land on the shack as well and do a good chunk of damage. Entries into compounds aren't really that crazy, right? You have the smokes, you have the blue zone. It's definitely doable. I would have loved to see them go for it, I agree. It was kind of more the winning play, right? What they did wasn't bad. It was playable, sort of, livable, maybe. But it probably was never the winning play. Foot Esports right now, they're in full TBP mode, Mark. This is
T-Bone and Pixel. Typical. And typical T-Bone's got a Panther right next to him as well. These two are having a laugh. Absolutely. They are waiting. They've set the trap and they are hoping that they can play peekaboo through the little side of the building.
Yeah, this is... I mean, it's not the optimal roof, though. It's a roof with holes in it, right? So there's a chance you actually get spotted and shot back at. You want to be on a roof with a ledge that's solid. So you're virtually invisible to everybody around you, but they'll figure that out at some point, I'm sure. I'm sure they'll put the time in. They probably just want to be a little bit further edge. Ascent, meanwhile, classic Ascend. They loot edge, so sometimes gliders spawn around them, and when the gliders spawn around them, Brex gets in them, and it's lovely stuff for them. It's free information, makes this game so much easier to maneuver.
Yep, with the glider comes information, and they saw a free side. Pass on by for Esports, and T-Bone's still waiting. He's still waiting for a kill.
2 shots coming out. A little bit of puffering, as the Anna lads would call it. Puffer fishing, puffering. Just making yourself look big. Making sure nobody comes your way. Peacocking. Or just showing presence, you know? If you want to be a boring German, like I am, just say showing presence.
No, you've got a better saying, surely. It's not just presence, surely, is it, Kai? Come on. What do you call it?
Just probably just say shooting, you know? Just okay. That's all it is, because that's all it is. That's all you're doing, you know? Just ballon.
I love it. Absolutely love it, mate. Absolutely love it. Well, we've got Fairy Tale chasing down, showing our Slam G more further afield, but the only thing they're chasing now is going to be the zone. We have got a full commit. We didn't have to wait for the phase number 3. We've lost enough bodies that PUBG said, hey, we're going to be moving over on phase number 2. Full commit now. Sometimes we'll be happy here, Hive in a good position. Foot, we're obviously going to try and collapse down potentially to the bottom side of Godok, and then mass migration. I can't see too much clashing. I think people are going to work their way over in tandem. The only worry I've got is, one, the cars. Part and parcel of Bushido also flipping the car at this side. They might get caught with the clash between them, Slam G and FaZe. If they didn't do that, they might have got off pretty clean.
This is something that PUBG came up with that I think is absolutely genius. It's just make these double bridges. It makes the whole bridge camping scenario so much less of a pain, right? It makes it so much less of a choke point. And we see 2 teams just cruising on through, no problem at all. Making it to zone. Getting to play the game. Bushido, a classic. They send it to the containers. They'll stay there and they hope they get fed. If not, they'll have some other send, some other play in mind. This is absolute standard for them. And we've seen them get, I think it was a 2nd place, maybe a 3rd place from here before. So it's definitely worked out in the past.
Yeah, that was part of the zone coming away. I think they were going for Vorpal Zor, but Vorpal Zor was just doing their shooting, and they peacocked enough to force them into another position. But you're right, I think it was a 3rd that they actually survived out from here. And they had the numbers, which was quite surprising to actually convert. But Slam G, they've gone over towards the other side, and with Boostic, on the team also like to throw the anchor out and know that actually you can try and claim, but we've already seen Vex cause some big damage to these teams and just put some reminding shots back across the water towards Boostic.
Yeah, I mean, it's all nice and dandy to have a Boostic on your squad, but there's effects on the other side. That man's an absolute trooper as well. Moves across the lobby like a tank. Just blasting. Nail up as well. Nail up's another one. Like Mexi, with a big head. Gets headshot a lot, gets knocked a lot, but he does the damage on the other side as well, so... Another bit of a turret for FaZe right now. It would be lovely to know if this is a tryout for FaZe, or if this is just, you know, Gustav taking an off day. You never
holiday
know.
season, it's all holiday season, isn't it? Potentially.
It is. We just don't know, right? We just don't know what the plans are. Nailup's been trialing for a few teams, here or there. Hasn't found great success ever past his Entropic days when that team was really, really good for a really short time. So, definitely a few people in the scene that would love to see him back at the top.
Has the capability. Does have the capability, but you're right. He's a player that gets knocked sometimes. It goes for the aggressive stance, that aggressive, I want to get the flush, and that's normally when you see him get knocked. FaZe, using the Vex and Nader Bullion, have able to find a way now back towards that kind of north side. Slamg having to disengage as they've got to reposition slightly themselves. Interesting, actually, we do see an E pickup coming from that southeast corner from Storm. They'll be timing that right, so if the zone does shoot across and get rid of the water early here, we will see them take that, and with that zone shift, expect an EP to go right across the middle of the zone.
Yeah. Might take it, but they're not all on it. It's a scout EP for Storm request. You see it on the map right now. Na'Vi actually getting knocked right in front of them, and they are scouting this with the EP. They might have a really good idea of what's going on, so this knock might actually come back to bite Na'Vi. That's a pull-up, though. April not ready for it at all. Instantly ganged up on. Win or Die come in. They've seen this before. They've been here before. They've played games out of this position, and they know it's workable. They know it's fine. So they go for it early, and they get themselves a freebie with it.
We're getting a complete repeat from last week, right? Where's that 100 ADR when they're pushing? Expect Win or Die to try and defend them off. But for now, it's going to be a solo. The Storm has landed. Right side will show the sunshine. 2-0 will go down.
Breach coming in.
Still, here it comes straight through. Oh, gets caught. Here comes more players go. They do get the finish from Fairy Tale. Should be able to get that res. Don't throw the nade. I think he has thrown the nade.
Oh, no.
That's the nade. That is the nade he's throwing. He is so lucky. He's got away with that.
That's crazy because his teammate, right? 210 just naded himself as well and had to step out from the rock because I think he tried to nade Fairy Tale and then the nade bounced off the rock or something. That's two missed throwables there in a very short amount of time. Upper Swords getting some long range knocks into Bushido. That won't matter a ton. But Ascend is still looking to dislodge free side here. They're still looking to work that edge, find an entry somewhere, somehow. But with Itzchris so far off to the north, they might just be getting themselves into zone.
Well, on the map, we could see they were trying to go through the middle. Freeside closed it up. A lot of noise has been made. FaZe have been drawn into that. You've already mentioned how early aggressive this team likes to be. So they've heard the noise. They've pushed this way. Send, obviously, with the glider down. Might have to just work around the other side of Freeside now. And they might have just got a pass. It looked like they were going to drive right through. But lucky enough for them, shots did happen. No connection. Glider's down. But they've got enough cars just to pick him up and get around.
Yeah, so they let Chris do the scout in there. Brex dismounts from the glider. Chris gets themselves a little bit of information towards the zone. And they know as well, these fields are rather playable. There's still a shack. Lots of stuff in front of them. They can get to play into, but they are going to wait for the zone. This is what I was thinking about Hive earlier, right? We saw them send to a middle shack in the middle of phase 3. But what Ascend is doing here, they're saying, why send it now? When we can just wait another 30 seconds, see exactly what zone 4 does, and then we're ready to send it. They're going to be on their cars. They might even be in their cars. They could even be driving now if they wanted to, but they want to see that circle, and they want to see what's the best play.
Well, it is a repeat from last week for those that have been watching. Pretty much donated up. Hive will be interested just to maybe lock down this compound, make sure we don't get a breach on the other side. Might see them launching nades over towards that win or die. Win or die have to focus now back towards that sort of north side because Ascend, Foot Esports eventually going to come knocking. Back on the other side of the zone. Well, Conquest need to try and dig apart Na'Vi here. High ground advantage here. Hakatoria looking back over the top. And they're going to be very careful. Bounty might step on the landmine. That is Na'Vi, but now they also need to take this fight and also get through into zone.
If they could have dislodged Sausage here, it would be a different story, but now not gonna look super hot. Ascend getting knocked by Freeside is actually slowing them down a ton. Chris getting knocked as well. They just got Brex back on his feet. Now Chris is knocked, and oh no, Crazy's going for the flush already. That's disaster. Chris was the anchor point. If he's alive, Fairy Sale ain't going. Fairy Sale. That's a crazy one. Freeside ain't going anywhere, but with Chris getting knocked here, if he gets the flush, which I'm not sure he is, he's getting stuck on that car. He has nowhere to go. Oh, it's disaster on both sides. Hello, my bad, found the flush on Chris, but Crazy is going nowhere. Finally, the car blows up. And the car blows up, Mark, while he's getting knocked and invulnerable in that knocking period. That is, I mean, that is perfection for him. But that was an absolute mess to get in here. No. Now it's getting costly. Now it's becoming a problem.
How many bodies do you throw at this one? You got FaZe pressuring behind. Nade has gone down, but they have to try and find a way. Ascend will be reading the kill feed here as well. That car's got no tires. Reliant on potential here. The anchor player able to get the smoke and the med back on. The car has four tires to get moved forward. He's got to be careful though because he's got to pick up and he's more important. He's got to try and save the guys. But Ascend, they're closer. They should be reading the kill feed. They should be applying pressure now. They are. Here comes the pressure. Oh no, there's Scoomer on by. They say no more and win or die. They know there's danger out here. They know there's kills to be claimed.
Damn, Ascend going by. I would have thought they'd go for these two, but there's the blue zone. One tick would be enough. Does the tick come in time? Yes, it does. That's a double flush. Just like that. 2 kills, just like that. Nothing to play for Freeside. More damage might come in. If the nades connect, if anything connects, they would be in absolute trouble. But he's got his 2, and that's all he wanted. 2 points. 1, 2, thank you. No problem at all. Collects them, leaves. And that's why blue zones are so oppressive right now, right? He doesn't even have to hit the door. He doesn't have to hit it past the shack. Just throw it in the right direction. If it doesn't bounce crazily, then you've got yourself the points and just easily done, well used.
Be interesting to see when we get 2 minutes if Ascend actually have blue zone nades. Because if they could even just throw them out of the car on the way. But towards the action, Conquest have not Conquest much more. Foot Esports though, taking shots though as they do leave Godock. So they have this full side exposed. Ain't you can see launching out the mortar fire ready. As the pressure from Na'Vi will force them into the hands. Now this might be tied up. This, if they can dial it in, is going to be sent towards that win or die location. Our teams are scrabbled around. You wouldn't really want to waste it. And on the other side of the zone, the polar opposite, well, is Slam G. They're trying to conquer our Bushido hold and great nades.
Oh, that is rough. That is super, super rough. Slam G barely got a Richland to play with. They are being blasted. I see a mortar popping off on the other side. That ain't coming here, I don't think. But there is the party shots. Tung 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 Sahur cleans up the rest of Slam G. That mortar is climbing. It's coming down right on the heads of Ascend. They're trying to disperse a little bit. Smoke's being used. Look how many smokes they have to commit to at least try and get out. Now Zerath wants to make the run on back. They don't want to be clumped, but just look at the amount of pressure, right? And look at how much Foot could be doing to Ascend right now if they wanted to. Starting to mount the pressure now. Ascend, so many smokes expended here.
It's what I love about this map, these fields. You can play the ridges. If you go too early, you get, unfortunately, backstabbed. This is what we're seeing. Vard has cruised on. He's Zeki'd right to the end. Has he got away with it? I don't know.
I haven't seen him.
He is completely cruised. They have no idea he's here. They will know now. Comes on the outside. They have no idea. Vard strikes. They had no idea. They didn't see the car whistle pass. Great nade. Oh, gets caught up by the car. Guy with the actual car fortification and the shield that will provide him some cover, at least from this first barrage of nades. More to come through. That shield will provide some cover there as it gets sent towards Brex here. Have my shield, mate. He's going to go in towards the smoke, and Vard pulls up. He's trying to have a jump shot over, trying to get any information where he can. Can't quite see him. I think he sees him now. He's using the bonnet nicely to gain that overlook.
Now, Keely doesn't see him again. What is going on? This is the most clowny fight. Vard finally taken down. Pixel's there for the trade. Oh, man. They were walking past each other like ships in the night. That took a little bit longer than he could have. But the res should be there for Foot. And they should stay forming up here. They should stay in absolute force in that field, Mark.
Vard's got magic powers. There's no one to see here. Send is not picking up the car at all in the slightest. Na'Vi going to fall, unfortunately, part and parcel of the high ground being left behind us. They had to send their way down. We don't see as much control from Na'Vi that we saw last week. The ability to play that mid-game really strong and get the kills in, not the case at the moment. FaZe struggled to work their way in. Mixie first to go last time. Now, last in at the moment. As Tuntun make the play forward, Nade is cooked. Have a look over the ridge, goes towards the first person perspective. He launches across, doesn't quite get the connection. Nades do come back. He has to launch forward. He launches in the pay. Peekaboo over the top. Doesn't quite get the connecting shots. Does 1 HP. Akim goes for the re-peek, and FaZe are going to fall out in 8th.
Bushido there as well. Their days were very numbered, regardless of how much Mixie was able to do there. FaZe just not in a spot to be playing this game out from. Tung 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 Sahur sweeping in from the east. Remember, they were the compound team earlier. They have come in from that eastern side, and they are now trying to take control. The nades are not bad. The damage is there. And time is ticking for Bushido. They don't have a whole lot of time left on this edge of the zone. That's a beautiful, beautiful throw. 43 HP on Crossberg. Gets the smoke out. We'll get the heals off. But I don't think he's getting his teammate back.
No, that's more of a deflective smoke. I'm here on the rock. Please play to the rock. They know exactly. Nade comes in. Akim, ATX will cause the damage. Unfortunately for Bushido, they are swiped out of this lobby. Phase number 6. 6 teams remain. It's been an aggressive start here for match number 2. There ain't much more time left. Unfortunately for Freeside, they've got to find a new way in towards the zone as they play sneaky Taego time.
Might live for a bit here. I would imagine somebody's going to spot them in the field at some point. Question is, who's looking for them? Ship you win or die, who is? But they are going to try and delay that as long as they can. This is 2017 PUBG lobby. I'm a snake, follow me.
This is game. This is like match 2 placement 2 game style here from Freeside. No one's going to see him. He's not even got a helmet on.
They're gonna get in zone, right? If we're looking at that minimap, I think they might just barely. I mean,
no, they've got to cross. They've got to cross. They've got to cross.
Doesn't
they
it
cross on the
touch
tractor.
It's so close. Yeah,
close.
They barely got across. The tractor is a meter away though. Now the shots are coming out. They've been spotted, right?
No, they're fakey shots.
No, they're just looking. They know exactly what's happening. They know what's happening, but they still can't see them though. They're gonna get in on that tractor. Question is the 2 angles from Win or Die enough, right? Laios a little bit north, Levante a little bit south. The 2 angles on the tractor could be enough to just take them out regardless.
Do you know what I love that?
Oh yeah, there it is.
There's one. Looking for the second. Sneaky. I'm not here. You're not shooting me. I do want to give a big shout out. Win or Die. It's the second time we've seen them play from this position as well. Yes, they haven't quite the numbers that we saw like last time, but they're playing it well. This has been well rehearsed, has been well played out. Freeside are going to be able to get the res as well, but a good control for them, and it looks like the muscle memory is sticking for this team.
Yeah, working out nicely for now. Freeside was around to see one of the Win or Die members go out as well, so they could know that there's just a duo. That being said, they've got 4 nades, Mark, but they've got no smokes. They got 0 smoke grenades. If they don't have anything in the smoke launchers, which I haven't seen any on their belts, so that was helping us out as well. I don't see a smoke launcher there, so I don't think they've got anything here. If they don't get any of the knocks, if they don't wait a second, if they don't get any of the knocks, Levante is wide open. What is that?
Levante is going big. He wanted to take the fight. Tuntun, no. They now it's a 2 versus 1. They want to get aggressive. They've got to be careful though. They've got Hive on one side. Shingen reminds them that they're still in the lobby. And it won't be long before we see Foot take the next stance and next push onto that ridge line. As the zone is pushing in, it is phase number 7. We're now for a top 5 position. And what is going on here? Win or die. Levante punished, but Leosh holding down.
I do not know. I'm not sure what Levante was doing. Maybe he was getting pressured from behind or something along those lines. There was a smoke there. I'm not sure where that was.
That's a blue zone.
Oh, okay.
That's a blue zone. That's going to give some sort of cover, but not much because Schengen's out of the blue zone.
There's so many. There's so many different angles on them. There was nowhere to go. There was nowhere for them to go. 4-man up. Tung 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 Sahur. 4-man up for Esports. 4-man up Hive. Dividing the circle in 3 corners. But Hive will have to take the corner that Leo's currently occupying here in a second. And when they come out of the compound, they're going to take a lot of heavy fire here. So much damage already coming in. The DMR's popping off. But it's for Esports on the other side that makes this a little bit more tricky. 13 frags on Tung 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 Sahur.
Tung 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 Sahur. This has been their game. They've been the first in the action, and they want to be the last in the action at the moment. The only question I've got for them is how much util, how many vests, what your helmet state is like, because no matter which way we turn, no matter what part of the kill feed we end up reading, this team has been in it. Here come the Doritos. Fortification will give them an opportunity to move forward into the Valley of Doom. But for Esports, 5 kills. I was about to say, they've been really uncontested, so lots of smokes remain potentially for them. Potentially enter the end zone. Pixel's got the heavy nade. There's no blue zone, though. There's no follow-up. Only Pixel's got that nade and molly. So if they want to be aggressive, they're going to have to get into kind of that flashing range as they want to breach over and take the fight.
It's going to delay for another good bit. I'm going to try to stay on their side for as long as they can. Tung Tung Sahura has to move off that rock, I do believe. Aman is not nearly in. That would have been massive for them. Where does he go now? He's got to go to that lower rock, but very exposed to the south there. So they might be the worst pressured by this circle. Foot Esports is making the breach, though. Leosh 1v4. How much can he do? He's dodging the first few drive-bys. The flash blinds himself. That's never good news. And Pixelic cruises on by. Barely any damage taken for Foot. Looking good here.
Go.
Looking to reconsolidate. And look at those nades popping off.
Good play from Foot. They've gone aggressive. They know they want to play into this corner here. They know these other 2 teams are out. So they've taken a 3-1 split. Anchor player is going to stop Tung Tung moving their way around. But don't forget, they've already used the Dorito cover. They've always popped the flares. So they're out of zone now. They've got to move forward. Here come the final smokes. And here come the nades. Look, obvious reason they're going to try and hit this corner. They need to breach into this car fort, but if they go too early, Koo, they're going to get sideswiped here by Hive.
Oh, everybody's playing with fire. Would love to get a look at the util here, because I think Hive is just 2 nades from blowing up, right? They've got barely any space. There's the triple nade coming out. Are these any good? They're looking good to me. Hey. There's the first knock. No further confirms just yet. Any more coming down the line? One more. It's blocked by the rock. Just like that. It's a lot of pressure. It's no flushes just yet. Hive stays alive for a little bit. What does Foot have to say about this? Not a whole lot. Foot is just setting themselves up to win the game, and they let these other 2 teams scrap it out.
Yeah, they haven't got the heavy U2, have they? If they want to commit, they've got to commit over. If they commit, they're going to have 2 teams shooting back. So they go forward. 13 kills, 2 down. But it has been the Akim show when it comes down to the nades. Can he get any more? They are trying to crawl their way in. Foot now activating. Schengen goes down, but they still got the numbers. Foot Esports are setting the stalls up for the victory here, but can they close out these final kills?
Look where Pixelic as well is. He's got himself the other angle, making sure that nothing ever comes up that hillside. And boosh! Just like that. Claims himself another 2. They take it all. Bar takes another. T-Bones looking to close out the game. He wants to play as well. He wants to get himself a frag. And he does. The IGL says, give me 1, boys. Just 1. Out of the 12 frags that they get away with. Big game for Foot Esports, but big game for Tung 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 Sahur, honestly.
Who loves TPP? T-Bone loves TPP. But you're right, Tung Tung Sahur. Wow, what a game. From the start to the finish, they were in the action. Explosive hold. We saw the breach, unfortunately, from Secura Senton, who will need to be reminded the lobby will be opening up very shortly because they've been waiting for quite some time to get back in. And the whole play from them has been good. Yes, Foot Esports did get the victory, but like game number 1, I feel like there was another team that actually might have stolen the show.
Man, where did that Panzer go? Why was that going so high? That looked crazy. It looked pretty... The hipfire looked rather on, so I'm a little confused to see... Thank you, production.
This guy's a Rondo. What are you talking about?
Why is it going so far left?
Does it even leave the building? It does leave the building. It has, yeah.
It goes so far left. It doesn't go where his crosser is at all. I'm not sure. Disaster for Skirmishes regardless in Tung 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 Sahur. They started the game with 4, and it was already a good start, right? But getting themselves 13 in the whole process is massive for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a massive play. Lots of movement from these teams having to move around. Vard using the Jedi mind tricks to get himself in. Good play from them. But look at Akim. All I felt like it was nades from him. Give that guy a nade, and he's going to punish. And talk about punishing. Wow, Levante, he tried to punish the team in the middle of the field and got punished himself.
I'm not sure. There must have been some sort of pressure coming in from a different team or something along those lines. I'm not quite sure what was going on there. Levante is not a player that makes these kind of mistakes most of the time. So, super intriguing to me what led to that. Maybe he just thought his teammate had the angle. Maybe he thought the cover was there. But I mean, it does hurt them. If they were a 2-man, they had a legit chance to defend that versus Foot Esports, right? Like there was a chance to defend that drive-by, and the way it panned out, no chance at all. So win or die, fall out there. Big games for Foot and Tung 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 Sahur. Small question mark for Ascend for me in that game, but I think we'll have plenty of time to talk about that later.
There is plenty of time to talk about that later. We're going to go to a break. That's halfway point, as we will be coming back onto Rondo before we close things off on the grassy pastures of Wrangle. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few. Welcome back, everyone. It has been explosive 2 actions as we had to get the observers and kick them back in the lobby because it is time. It's going to be match number 3, but before we get into that one, again, I felt like there were teams that were really shining in the games, maybe not converting the wins, but actually an aggressive start. I felt like this game was more aggressive than game number 1. It's explosive, and we saw teams like Tun Tun, well, they put some points under their belt. Great game from them.
Good stuff. 13 frags is never easy. It doesn't matter what zone you get. The frags don't come that easy. Some of them might come easy. So Krasensen, they came rather easy, but not free. He still had to stand. He still had to live, right? Then the backup was there in time, so they reacted very quickly on that. So shout out to them. A few free frags around that shack that were a bit of a question mark for us, right? The knock on It's Chris, super impactful against Ascend. And then 2 players get knocked in the shack, but Ascent maybe a little bit too busy with their own game to realize. Maybe they just didn't know. I think if they do know, they probably always go there, but we don't really know what happened in the comms. We don't really know what happened in the game. Same thing with Foot pulling up to Ascend and like both the teams not really realizing where each other were, right? Like Vard completely unknown there, and then Vard and Keely just sitting on two sides of the car, both completely unaware. A lot of weird stuff going on in those fields. Same with the Levante stuff. A lot of weird stuff going on in the fields, but a lot of big frags coming out of the teams at the top.
It's Vard mind games. I'm telling you, he was there. I'm not here. Don't look over. But it's a good game. It was a good game. A lot to take away. I'm sure the leaderboard should be ready in this moment. We can have a quick look, though, at the points on the scores for that one. Because look, despite not all the teams able to convert the wins, I think you're right. A lot of those kills were key. I think Ascend did miss out on some kills. And I think they will question and potentially they should have maybe tied up with It's Chris earlier, especially with the knock, because they could have potentially kept him up. Or more importantly, stopped that movement from Freeside. And yeah, bamboozles me as to why they didn't try and at least launch a nade, stop, pull up and take, because it's very, very hard from anyone coming in from that west side to get anything to survive out, because Win or Die at that position was in such a strong position to hold anyone sweeping in.
It was also, you have to give a little bit of credit to Hive, right? They were destroying everybody that was going to that shack. They might have easily been the ones that knocked Chris there in the first place. I'm not quite sure. They might have been the ones that just destroyed him. They also did completely destroy the other team coming for it, right? Freeside. They got both their players knocked. Their game was kind of just brought to a complete halt because the DMR shots were landing so well. There's that leaderboard we talked about. No surprise. Foot with a solid first game and a big win in the second one is now in first. Tung 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 Sahur have pushed themselves all the way up into third.
All themselves up. They went from one side to the other. They're there. Hive, you mentioned, really good play from them. They're holding up that top side of their leaderboard as well. Definitely worth mentioning for Win or Die. They salvaged very well from that game. But it is map number 3. It's out your condo into Rondo with a double flight path. It's a northeast down towards the southwest, and we return path from the southwest back towards the northeast. I'm not the biggest fan of split planes because it adds a level of complexity if you don't know who's in your plane, so you can't quite get roughly where the drops and where people are going to land. It's a bit more of a gamble than I personally like to take, especially being an agent of chaos.
Yeah, this is super interesting. In more established lobbies, a lot of the teams will know who's in the other planes and who's in which, who's in your plane, who's in the other one. But this is not the case here. Interestingly enough, a niche Rondo feature that will go away. PUBG has already put it in the patch notes. This will not longer be a thing when this current live patch makes it to the esports server. So a little bit of a special flavor getting lost in the process. PUBG trying to unify the maps, right? Make it less confusing for everybody that's a bit newer to the game. But a little bit of the flavor does get lost in the process. This is a weird one for me. Schengen has to get there out of there as fast as he can. I think he should get there in time. But Dante is also off to the north here, ready to close. Also stealing a vehicle. If any of them get caught here, be disaster for Hive. But what is that circle? That is so far south.
Kid is like, lads, I got this. Everyone descend down on me. Same as FaZe. They're going to be happy here. EMEA, we need a big game from them really to get them back into a topic of conversation. It is over 3 days. I won't be for tabbing them out too early just yet. And actually, by sitting in Hong Kong, they should be okay. They should be all right here. A little bit of divide up here as Secure Sensor needing a big game. Haven't quite got the Twisted Minds memo, and they are looking to breach in on Navi's compound.
Wild stuff. Something Navi has been well rehearsed in, but Navi's hot drops versus Swiss Mines were always in the test track itself, not in the factory. And what we're seeing here, well, especially from Freyr, not really from Hagatori. That jump over the top, that was already more action that we'd usually see in a TPP hot drop. This is TPP hot dropping. What Freyr is doing right here. Gun against the wall, camera out the corner. And every move Sakura Zensen would make would be immediately punished. So, very, very tricky to approach these situations in third person. And I'd be surprised to not see the team who moves first punished. You move first here, you get aggressive. Most of the time, not going to go all that well for you.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why we've seen our hot drops be more lukewarm drops. Actually saw an explosive action. I remember the other week, Hakatori dug himself out as he was down to the final 2 and able to claim victory over 100 ADR. But good play from him. But it is, again, you can gain so much more information. Sometimes, especially from a secure sensing point of view, they've not had the best start to this day number one. They've got to gain something out of here. Unless they get the knock, unless they get an entry point, it'd be very, very difficult for them to dig something deep, especially if they lose bodies in this push.
Oh.
Of all compounds to put up on.
I don't think they have an idea. I'll say. I don't think Brex has any idea that FaZe is so close. So early. It's only 2 of FaZe though, so they're not ready to pull up on this, but it's not like Ascend is going to reinforce this with 4, right? So should still be a doable situation for FaZe Clan. Absolute nightmare for the Observer, by the way, because the second he goes away, FaZe is going to kill 2 of Ascend, but if he stays here the whole game, then it's not going to be pretty either. Brex actually fell away after putting that bike in there.
He's just moving it for later. His party knows. That's his get-out clause.
He's playing like he knows, though, but how does he know?
No, he doesn't. That's a get-out clause. If there's a breach coming in, they're going to retreat to the south, get the bike, do a backflip, and then find somewhere else. No,
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Can we watch Brex POV again here? Observer is doing us all the favors today. They are laser focused in on this, Mark. They're not playing this early game.
Do you think he had the car? Because it was close.
He must have heard something. Either steps or the car or something. They know. They 100% know. Sense. Yeah. They are laser focused in on this. This is not how he would be playing if they didn't know. He would be looking around, looking at the map. Yeah, this is what you do. You know, you scout around, you're running around. They do know, but I mean, the problem is the longer this takes, right? The longer this takes, the less they will trust that there was actually somebody there, because no movement, no sign of life, right? And they might even walk back up. They might even recheck it, re-clear it. That could be disaster.
Vex is backed away. He's taking the car, he's backed away. So there's definitely information that has been gained, right? They would have heard the car go. But would they have guessed
Panzerfaust
that Mixie's still here? That they've still got a player lurking. And now with Mixie laying down low, he's gained so much information. He now knows there's 2. So he's going to be able to feed that information back towards the FaZe team. Now, obviously, Vex is right there. The other guys are further afield, but it won't take him too long. Maybe even bait in the draw if they do go to drive over the bridge. That might allow Vex, especially to activate here, actually punishing. If Mixie gets an opening knock, that changes the whole lay of the land.
2 things happening around this that do matter. FaZe Clan is now moving in from Rinjiang. The rest of the players are coming over. But also Vorpal Swords have arrived in the south here. So this is getting trickier and trickier the longer it takes. I think we're going to see a situation where FaZe just plays the game and leaves Mexi there. And he's hoping to find himself a 1v2 at some point. But Ascend is getting aggressive now. The tables have turned. They're walking straight on in. They're realizing, hey, maybe that's the guy we heard earlier. Maybe we can go punish. Chris might have seen him from the other side as well. That could have been a thing, but FaZe is going to get themselves in an absolute 1v3 situation here against a Panzerfaust as well. Vex, he does have the off angle. He does have the benefit of surprise. Not for much longer, just like that. Wrapped up, put in a bag, 1 point for Ascend. And they've turned this one around nicely.
Mixie, he didn't even catch him leave the compound. They were blocked. That wall blocked him. They went towards that west side, and he was there waiting, hoping. But again, we see Ascend playing slightly aggressive. I like it when I see Ascend play aggressive because we see results from them. So I like they've taken the fight there. I like they've taken and punished that solo player. It's going to be obviously different if they do go back and they do sort of step on the landmine. That's Mixie, but he's had to really change about how he's going to play this one. He's gone under the bridge. He's now going to try and hold out and find and pray. The phase and the zone shift goes back towards that west.
Observer is just trying his heart out while chat is undecided if he's the GOAT or if he's an NPC. He's gotten both sides of feedback. Now he's just trying everything. Trying to give us all the angles. I love it. Tung 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 Sahur are getting the worst part of Rondo right now. They've driven straight into the EMP. See you later. 1 minute timeout. You go into the quiet corner. And you will have to wait. You're not playing the game for a minute. Xelias, I think, has barely rolled out. Or Yeah, he's barely rolled out of the zone, but they don't want to give up that car. They have to wait.
He has to wait. We've got time. Got time. I see teams working their way in. Esports over a slight split. Secure Sensum still trying to outlive Navi, who have left months ago. So they've moved their way back towards zones. Secure Sensum able to get the cars and move back in. I think he's going to be cresting pretty close to test track. Pretty much everyone is kind of descending in and around that sort of ascend split. It's an interesting zone for me though, Koa, because obviously playing down in that southwest corner, we've got a little bit of unplayable, very much in that sort of west corner of the map. But we've got lots of high ground, and we've also got the water that divides in the middle. So expectations are potentially would, for me, would shift towards that sort of north side, because we've got those massive pillars that we see. Whee, there goes the map. But it does have capabilities, especially for these first couple of zones random, to sort of play back towards the south, and that's going to put potential craziness for Rondo on the table.
Apologies for the map there. That's actually my bad. I was getting ready to draw some lines on the map, you know? I was getting ready to draw, but somebody was moving it. There's so much in play here, Mark, that the zone will go away from, right? There is so much water, so many different rocks. There's tons and tons and tons of land ratio involved here. So when phase 2 comes around, we're going to have a really good idea of where we're ending up. And a lot of teams playing for that southern side right now. Yes, it's rather centralized, but they know as well. There's a good chance zone is going away from them. But they are just playing the odds, because if someone comes towards them, can pay off big time. I'm worried about Ascend still. What a shift, by the way. But Mexi is still in the middle of them, by the way. This could ruin them.
This is crazy, though, because back onto your point, we've got still high ground in that west corner. We've still got huge amounts of water. There's an argument to say we might even see another shift down towards that south. But for now, win or die, they're chasing down Esports as the zone left both of these teams, and it is a race to go find somewhere to play.
Yeah, everybody's got to send it through. They just got to try and get it through unscathed. Somehow make it past, right? That's all you want to do right now. You see a solo buggy in front of you, you're happy to punish, but you're just trying to stay alive. M-Man sending one EP immediately, and I think they have another one in their pocket. So we just saw Mossbot fly on by. This team is soon to follow. Bombilovo with 3 tires and a buggy. Not a great amount of choices. M-Man, that's actually 2 of them, and they are hot dropping a compound. Do they know there's anybody here? It doesn't matter. They don't know. Exporizi doesn't know. Gets traded out. He still has 3 teammates in the compound, but they got to be quick with this.
Yeah, he's going to wait for the sound cues, pops the smoke just to try and block. Here comes a nade. Comes through the door. He actually gets caught as well. It's punishing, and surprise, surprise, it's not too long before we see another Panzer. It's in the hands of Vorpal Sword. A couple of nades will go in, trying to find the player. Can hear the footsteps though, and he actually does get that nade connection. So good use of util, and more importantly, he's going to be able to keep the Panzer.
And there's the other 2 from M-Man. They were trying to just get a scout EP in and then have the other 2 members take the other, but, well, I don't have to explain the downsides of that, right? They just explain them themselves. If they land there with 4 players, then they're probably winning that fight, but not meant to be. Win or die here, the fight. They see the knocks. They decide to crash on in because it's the best thing they're gonna get. Breach has been made successfully. 3 members inside the compound now. Bushido on the edge, trying to stay alive right now. Crossberg nailed in the smoke, and everybody is just struggling right now to find any space in the zone. There is space, but this is also such unknown territory, Mark. The zone's never this far south, and especially not this far southwest. I don't think a lot of these players have played an esports game in Long Ho, but they definitely have, like, they might not even have landed Long Ho ever, right? Like, this is how far edge we are.
About to say, the closest I've been here is on the other side of the water. We've seen that initial shift, we saw that initial pop, but it played towards the east. Oh, you're right, I've not seen one. I've played here, had to go look for that bird. Remember we had the little quest that we had to come down here. But apart from that, from the esports section, yeah, let's see. And I think that's part and parcel. A lot of the teams are reacting to the zone. They're kind of full sending it. But a lot of them are staying on this north side. A lot of them are not fully risking a wrap around. We're now seeing a couple of teams later on make the push towards the south. But a couple have already rolled the dice. And one of them, Tun Sahura, well, they played this early. And they're going to be happy. Well, not happy that the EMP's gone off, but at least they might be joined with some other teams coming their way. And that could be huge. The Collider's going to provide some information, but Rocks need to stay out of this area.
Yeah, he can't be flying in here. glider motor goes out immediately, but it is a glider, so it does still glide. Even in the EMP zone, just doesn't get the motor anymore.
Oh my
T-bone
God.
out, and we are going
further
and further and further south. Now, this is so far edge that I'm not even sure if that rock next to Longho is land ratio. If it is, it's going to get messy. But I think this just goes straight onto free side. There is this rock, right? I'm not sure if that counts as unplayable, but it's going to go away from the water first. It's going to go away from the water, and it's going to go away from the big rock. So it's probably just ending in that southwest corner somewhere. That being said, never seen a zone here. And even a data analyst with a lot of games probably doesn't have a whole lot of games in his database with this sort of area in place. So going to be super interesting, and it's going to be exciting to see what the teams make of this, where the teams end up playing, what positions that they figure out are playable, because I can tell you, you don't have this in your playbook.
Because this is a telltale sign, because teams are just driving around. Rock is obviously trying to scout some information. The rest of the team have to go aggressive though. Dante gets him, but we see Crossbert taking the shots and they're racing their way to find something. This is going to come down, I like this, because it's going to come down to raw gun skills in some areas. They're going to try and find some position. We're going to see some teams go for a full send, but it's unknown territory. It's heads up, gun to come battle here. Carl comes over the top. Leios has to send out that blue zone nade, but they're pushing forward here, and Will die surviving it out.
I think he went for the... Did he go for the flush and he did get it? Did he flush his teammate?
Yeah.
I think he got one of the flushes there. That was a mess. Sending that car in is a big move, but win or die. Straight through for now. As we do see the little instant replay, not in time. It is what it is, but they tried. They tried. Production's tried really hard today. I appreciate it. Hive, they gotta make landfall somewhere here, Mark. We keep seeing them on that western side. Now Schengen's knocked. They haven't consolidated. It's not looking pretty. Mixi might have caught Brex. No. Ascend still forming up, right? No, that doesn't look like it. So Mixi has caught one. The game is now up. The rat has shown its head. And Ascend are realizing they gotta fight it.
Native swimming. Interesting to see if he gets caught. Yeah, look, time has played out. FaZe have kept their cool. Now they've gone Scuba Steve on us. As James is also taking the opportunity to swim across. This is a crazy zone. Mixi might be the only one that can apply pressure to keep the guys alive. It's phase 3. Head up should get to landfall. Able to get a med back on, but it's the town that I'm interested in. Rox has crash dived. He's found a position here. Secure Ascent, and haven't gone out early just yet, but we still have 15 teams. Bushido crashing on in for Esports, receiving damage as well. Most of these teams find a position, and it's going to be the unknown, I still feel.
Ascend trying to disengage, realizing that this fight is going to take too long. Now they have a good timing. Now they're in the middle of their rotate when the zone pops. So they have speed, they're in their cars, they're ready. They're going to hit a sharp right here in a matter of seconds. No,
it's Ascend. It's a sharp left. They're going to wrap around the zone.
Well, they're hoping to wrap around into an emptier side. Little do they know, they're wrapping into the most stacked southern side. You could think, right? The zone's gone south 3 times. The south side should be empty. Everyone's came in from the north, but that's just not the reality, and that's why PUBG is so hard sometimes. Not sure where they're going to end up here. They might be able to get themselves a little bit of information, but again, they got to do it on the fly. They got to figure out what's in front of them while they're moving. Maybe, just maybe, they can catch off Tung 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 Sahur.
No way. They've got him.
Spotted, heard.
Oh, is there? Send hit factory reset. Looks like maybe it's Chris has drawn them back into another play, so they do go back the way they came. And here comes the push though. Slam G trying to take the fight. Hive holding out though. Six launching nade 3 does catch him as well. Rox goes down. Little does he know the rest of the team's further afield, so they'll be able to get the reses. They've got to do it quite quick because free side might want to get a look in on this.
I think it's too tricky. I don't think they want to cross. They're going to look through the windows, see if they can maybe catch up Mogora there on the cross. Cantix, yeah. He was getting his little feelers out. He was looking. But crossing, when there's so many buildings, so many players involved, you probably just want to stay put for as long as you can. You want to consolidate as centralized as you can. You want to take the least amount of risks here. This is messy as hell. It's really hard to get a good idea of what's going on around you. So many windows, right? All of these buildings have so many windows. Somebody could just be sitting behind, ready to pop his head on out and destroy you with an AR spray.
And it comes to that unknown again. This is an unknown battleground. At the end, Storm, the only team really on the north, as they took the high ground and been left to their own devices. And I think, as we saw with Team Ascend, I think the expectations are there is a lot of people here already, so they will continue to move on a field. And you can just tell as well, these teams are not settled. A lot of them are driving around, a lot of them are putting up and then just making a readjustment, reposition each time. James gets mad negative though. James goes down as well.
Throw just destroyed him, by the way.
Yeah, the throw show.
Just watched it on the map, but he just absolutely put him down. Just leaned out of his car with the QBU and just said, nah, you ain't doing that to my teammate. It ain't happening. What was thoughts coming out of the compound, Mark?
Everyone's just on the move constantly. I feel like at the moment, Vorpal's sort of seen this as well, reading the kill feed. They're going to know potentially down numbers. Mixie looks on the top. He's dodging the cars in the smoke. A bit of spray comes through. Another smoke does start to bloom. And Vorpal saw it under no illusion that someone's here. There's a little bit more of battleships as you launch for a B2. I'll launch a nade back. He's trying to get any information he can, any initial knock. But for now, it's going to be a little bit more time left in him. And Buffet's going to drop out in 15th place.
Look at Fairy Tail, though. They're activating on this. They've seen this. They've heard this. They want to get involved. Maybe not finding it in time. Ascend is on Ascend. No pun intended. Trying to get something playable in the middle. They don't really know where to go. Keely's saying, well, I'm knocked, but I'm alive. This is playable. You can come to me. It might be for a little bit. I'm not sure how much I fancy this for the late game. I think they do just get utilized at some point, but do they have anything better? I doubt it. Chris, last second, barrel headshot pops him out. Should be enough in the open. Does it have enough low ground?
Good night. The nade's going to go hit this end.
It might be going out, but yeah, trying to dodge the util as much as they can. There it is. From the top, Leosh is going to close them out. Damage goes towards Quint, goes towards free side, but the last one is Leosh. And yeah, Ascend, they tried. Find something playable. There wasn't a whole lot to do for them, honestly. There wasn't a whole lot of space in this circle, and so many teams already found their end.
Ainty gets one. Obviously, Foot did try to crash in earlier on. It's a long ho, and he was one of the final players who did lurk on the outside. He's now going to work his way back in. It's not going to be as a strong game from Foot Esports here. Secure Sensen right in the middle. The tables have turned to a degree. Fairy Tail on the run in as well. But win or die, a team so far, actually all the games have been able to be aggressive, been able to take area and zone. Hasn't always worked out, but so far so good in this game. They just need to deal with Fairy Tail.
There's a big just need to deal with Fairy Tail.
Yeah.
Just need to deal with the 4-man that has all the time in the world to set up this push now. Try and close them out. 80 still alive somehow in the blue. Karzensen. They made the early breach. They're still kicking. They have to make their move on in as well. 7 first aids on 80 is going to keep him alive for a little while longer. He's going to be able to delay quite a bit. Might be able to delay long enough for Karzensen to be busy elsewhere. There's that push from Fairy Tail. There's Win or Die trying to hold. Both these teams might be rather happy with delaying, but I do think that Fairy Tail does want to close this out. They would love to get all the space that they could get from this fight.
There's been the blue zone nades have been launched to Narnia. They'll be connected with Bomber Lobo. They do come back. We'll get the full connection. It's going to potentially stop him. 9 seconds ago, we're going to see the zone shift. Wouldn't be too surprised to say goodbye towards the city. Ain't is here. Keta will fall. It's on the outside edge. He needs to get a med on in time. It's going to chunk. He's done it. He's going to get moving again. Okay, Del from Storm. Oh, he's going to be helping him out.
Eggers dies to the play zone as well. He's actually standing longer than they are, but he does know he ain't getting in. He ain't making it alive. Fully destroys the Karzensen though, so the snake from the blue has done it again. A classic, a PUBG staple these days. The blue zone snakes do bite. Northern side, looking like a whole lot of Storm on request. Trying to get away from Na'Vi. They don't want this fight at all. They've got space to play, so fighting Na'Vi is about the last thing they want to do in this circle, but Na'Vi would love to. Na'Vi would love to stretch out to the north, get an opening, punish a team, because they don't have a whole lot of space themselves.
They've got a bit of a ridge, don't? I think that comes down to timing, right? We're going to see it play out, obviously, from the zone and from the town. So these teams are going to have to follow the blue out. So obviously, Hive and Presenti is a one-man army, which is held up in the checkpoint. But the high ground from Storm, the high ground from Win or Die, they're going to be punishing. So Navi at the moment, I think, will be happy to delay. Hakatori will get one. Freeside are going to get the confirmation now. As SlamG also trying to get out of the town. Win or Die know that they don't want to take the fight and get caught up with Fairy Tale. So they're disengaged. SlamG, final player for them. Getting shots in the back from Navi. And eventually is going to fall. Freeside to claim. They're going to like SlamG, ninth place.
There's that space for Fairy Tale, right? Popping up on the hill, instantly starting to farm, instantly starting to take the frags. When I die, evacuates. They disengage completely. They try to get out of dodge because they have lost the fight. They lost the entry. They have lost the fight. Freeside finally having to make their first move after breaching into Longho. And it's going to be a send across the road with a 3-man. And then Crazy coming on a little bit later in the second car. Gonna try and get themselves in. As Navi destroys Bushido with nades. Oh boy, Bushido thought they could play the rock. Navi said, nope. You cannot. But how is Freeside going to make it up this hill?
It's going to have to be an aggressive push. Love Navi. They're going to delay that blue. They're going to come in slowly, pick off any remaining teams. On the other side of things, Freeside have to get aggressive. They've got no other option to the zone. Try and wrap their way around. Navi's going to cause them some problems. Presenti's going to try and hold out. They can see the explosive cars, so they've got the information, and they would have seen the cars moving their way down. But now they've got to try and claim. The difficult mountain to climb is the fight with Fairy Tale for them, but it is the right fight to have. Navi going to take the opportunity now to get a few more bits and bobs. So they will load as much more util, well, not that much more util, in the back pockets, but they've got some heavy, some more explosive action potentially coming their way.
What is an explosive? What is an explosive when Mark Power is casting by Presenti? There is a world where he just blows up. Nate comes on over.
Oh my god.
Up and over. Doesn't make it. Doesn't get all the way there. Gonna cost Navi quite a bit of time here though. 50 seconds. For the zone. The smokes are not coming out. Wouldn't be surprised to see a vehicle breach here as well. But again, if Presenti keeps a nade in the pocket, if he would keep a single nade in the pocket, be destroying as well, but he wants to do the damage now. Hasn't done the damage with the blue zones. He doesn't know that yet, and now blue zones are coming his way. Now Freeside from the other side has said hello. Do they have anything to follow this up though? A single blue zone won't do the trick. He can just steal through this. Oh, I really thought they had something to follow it up. I really thought they had a bit more in the tank, but Freeside, they leave it at that. And on the other side, Bombilova and Conf combine.
Yeah, one team you do not drop and leave is Fairy Tale. They will take the opportunity. They did it in game number 1. They're now doing it in game number 3. 6 kills already for this team that's been climbing their way up. Bombilova with Navi in the line of sight. Now the zone does shift away from that high ground. We find ourselves with the road dividing east versus west. Fairy Tale looking to clear out our free sides here. So they won't get much more of a free side. And you're right, Presenti got away with that one blue zone. Was not going to be enough, but at least the guard shack is denying the capabilities of Navi's nades get him through.
And Navi believe in numbers as well, right? They don't have the full numbers anymore. Somehow Presenti had an infinite amount of nades to throw at them as well. He's going to delay for as long as he can. A single molly, a single nade would do the trick now. But he's all smoked out, all smoked off. There's one. One in the hands of Extens, but he does lob that towards Freeside, I do believe, so...
Oh.
The attention is elsewhere at the moment for Navi. They still have to deal with Presenti though. Cannot forget about him. Do they think they've cleared him? I'm not sure. No, they're realizing now, but he's using the camera to full effect. He's spotting them in the smoke. He's in.
Well placed.
Nade
well placed.
closes the deal. Extens goes out through the window though. The nade does a bit of splash damage. So that is unwanted troubles for Navi, but look at the amount of nades in this late game.
Yeah, it's going to be a U2 endgame. Navi going to get some time just to get that res back on. They're going to need the bodies up. So we'll get Crazy down as he doesn't want to get the res on just yet because he's got kills to be able to claim. Extends does fall. And Navi is going to go out at 5th place for them. We're in the top 4. There are numbers up here. I do think this is going to be very explosive and it's going to come down to a heavy util game as well. Everyone's pushing the south side of the zone. We've got a couple of, we've got Solo with Win or Die. Freeside now down on 2, but Fairy Tale looking strong as they start to puff out those feathers to get a victory.
Levante's still alive. It's crazy as well, right? Literally got in his car, drove away from Fairy Tail to try and live a little bit longer. Freestyle trying to hold on in the dip. They've got men storming at them though. Nosferatu finds one, finds two, comes around the corner, gets himself inside. A little bit too late though, as Bombilova from the top has found them. Instant trade there from the other side of the road as well. So this is everybody just tearing each other to bits, and Levante's just hanging out. He's chilling. He's just a chill guy on the hillside. If Brightside doesn't see him, oh boy, that was a perfect angle for Levante. He can peek out. He's got the camera. He's got the knock. It's disaster for Fairy Tail, but they have done the damage already. They might just be fine.
The damage has been done. Knocks on either side. Storm not going to be able to get their raise on. Conf has the opportunity potentially to turn around and get Brightside, but it's going to be really reliant April to try and hold, and this is a hard angle to hold from. Whereas on the other side of zone, Storm, they're outside of zone. They should really be starting to push up and over, and Conf is going to go try and trade out for this raise. Ooh.
Nosferatu down. April connects at off angle. Doing all the work right now. Now he's got the pinpoint location. Dragunov's hard to connect with sometimes, but he's marking the player, and it won't matter. Fairy Tail will walk away with it. A classic. Fairy Tail showing up in dominant fashion again. And you can hear them ringing off with the M249. They're happy about this one.
Victory! Good game. Good game. 21-point game, though, for Fairy Tail, who played aggressive. They're chasing teams down. I actually thought Win or Die were going to try and hold them out for a period of time. They didn't have to disengage, but they did. They gave them the opportunity. They gave them the space, and eventually it did give them the victory. A team which we've seen, unfortunately for some others, they have left them. They've not opted to fight the team in front and have been punished 2 games now.
A lot of punishment being done by Fairy Tail though. And honestly, this one, yeah, it doesn't look great for Ascent, but it doesn't look great for a lot of teams, right? Nobody just knows where to play, and nobody knows what the spots are. And Bushido, same fate, right? Completely blasted. Na'Vi taking ages to get a nade into that shack is fair enough. They would have loved to have a double blue zone, maybe. So many teams just worse for wear here.
Yeah.
Not really getting themselves into dominant positions. Big stuff from Fairy Tail, though. Love to see it.
Yeah, pretty good game. And look, just to remind everyone, what a crazy zone. Like, I've seen one, obviously, more towards the east, the other side of the water, where we kind of ended on that pond section, or just outside of the pond section, but not so much in the town. A lot of teams didn't really take the town early on. We saw Tuntun go quite early. We saw Hive go quite early there as well. Actually, as an end, they played well. Big shout for Na'Vi holding out the east as they tried to control. Storm, unshifted, unblown away, because they held that northeast corner for some time, and Fairy Tail, they had to climb the mountain. So I do like what we see. I love that we actually had a crazy zone there, and it really forced Mikoa, these teams and players, having to think on their feet.
Yeah, extra hard game for the players, extra fun game for us. That's the way that equation works. But I know that was match 3, and that equation means we have one more break for you guys until we come back with the last game of the night. So we're going to send you to a short break, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Wow. So far, the games have not disappointed. From crazy starts to crazy zones, we've still got one more left to go. We're going old school. We're going back to Orankle. Could we have a Zaki, maybe? Could it be that crazy to end off day number one? Well, we're going to have to wait, but there's been some teams that are impressing. And for me, Kai, there's some teams really showing us that they want this money.
Yeah. To get a circle like that on a wrangle, we would have to even go west of Zaki. I think if we went to like the hill west of Zaki, the lighthouse, that kind of area, that might be a similar level of unknown to what we've just seen. But that's the only place. I mean, or we shift to the spawn island, maybe, you know, that'd be a thing. But hard to find anything on a wrangle the player's not familiar with. On Rondo, that is still somewhat possible, but I feel like that is just easily the rarest circle that we've ever seen.
Yeah, that was been super rare. So we see something close, but never that close. And look, good big shout to Fairy Tail. They were explosive when it came down to Miramar. They looked explosive on Rondo as well. And I'm just all surprised that we had teams disengaged from them. We mentioned before, Win or Die gave up their spot. They wanted to play back to the north, and that might be part and parcel. They want to try and hold on to the top spot, but that top spot has been given up. Rewards have been now claimed. It's not quite a fairy tale ending just yet, but it's a good start to this story.
38 is a hell of an amount of points for 3 games. That's crazy. Foot looking good as well. Bit quieter in this game, but 80 with a good salvage, right? And then Win or Die. Levante sneaking his way into third there. Helps him out a bit, especially on the placement points when you consider that they're on 9. So I think 5 this game is massive. Hive, solid. Storm on request. Solid after this one. Tung Sahur. Quiet in this one. Big in the last, right? So that's how these stories kind of go down. Again, Bushido not looking super hot here for us. Slam G, surprisingly flat as well. So a few surprises there at the bottom side of the scoreboard. What do you think?
Yeah, you've got to question a little bit of Na'Vi, FaZe. M-Man's my big question. We saw him so explosive. Can they deal with the heat when it comes down to this lobby? We'll have to see unknown just yet. Bushido, oh God, just leave them to the last 2 games and let's see what they can do. But if they let the lobby run away anymore, then yeah, you gotta question how far can they climb. It's been difficult for Secura Sentin. Let's not take anything away, but some big shots for Fairy Tail. Basically, what I'm reading here at the moment is if Fairy Tail can get into the placement points, Fairy Tail get their win, and if they do it well. Big amount of damage, but not as much average damage as for Esports. Was that part and parcel of Taego, maybe?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Hard to say when you don't pick apart the individual games, right? Interesting that that damage. Oh, it's average damage taken. Okay, average, that makes sense. It's considerably lower. Fairy Tail, yeah. That is a big difference for me. And then obviously placement points, but it is 3 games, right? So judging stats after 3 games is a little wacky, but it's still fun to look at to get us into the last game. What I want to see with the damage numbers on T-Bone, you know, because I remember that was what was it, a 9-kill win, a 12-kill win, something like that, and he just barely got himself the last. But that is classic IGL fashion, to be honest. So I'm just small little stitches towards T-Bone. You know?
He was so eager to get that last kill as well, and he ran out in the
He really wanted it. There is a solid chance that he was in voice saying, "F it, guys. I might die for this. I'm getting that kill."
Love it. He did go for it, but it's the final game here. Match number 4 for day number 1 of the Super Cut number 2. We got a north down toward the southwest. We are going to favor that west side of the map when it comes down to a plane path. Doesn't mean the zone has to go all the way there. It can touch the plane path and push back towards the east. The center will be pretty good. And some of these teams jumping out pretty early to try and get their alt drops. Some of these will be able to get their primary drops. We'll see our Win or Die go for North George, and we'll see Foot go for South.
3 shifts.
Is that what you think it is?
Yeah, beautiful drawings. I am an artist. We're going West Ozaki. It ain't happening. But, you know, there's like people who can draw a perfect circle without trying.
Freeze.
I'm like literally the opposite. Yeah, like freehand, you know? I am the opposite. Okay. I can't draw a circle while I'm trying, so it's rough.
That was good. That was good, mate. That was better than
Come on now, you can't pretend like that was good, Mark. You know, you can hype me up all you want. Don't hype up my circles. I know. It's all good. FaZe knows as well. FaZe knows that this is the Zaki circle, yeah.
that one they've gone early. That one they've gone for the opportunity. So it's worth Milter. The number drop spot a little bit too far away. And that first drawing came up. Quick, press the undo button. That was pretty close, mate.
That was pretty good.
Here we go. Surely we can't get a Zaki. Surely it's going to pull back towards Everest. As it
All we
does.
need, right, is 3 hard shifts. It ain't likely. It's like, it ain't likely. But what if, all right? How crazy would it be if we talked about this in the break, we talk about it at the start of the match, and then it does happen? That's just... At that point, we just have to admit that we're reading off the script here.
No, there's no script. There's no script. We don't get given scripts. That's for the observers.
Oh, you don't?
Remember. No. Do you get one? I didn't get one.
Why is Vex naked? Get that man fined right now. -7 points immediately. Ain't not wearing anything either. What is happening?
It's team gear. It's camouflage. It's for a dip in the Zaki beach. This time of year, it's a lovely, lovely breeze. The sea temperature's perfect for a little swim. They've even got the jet skis / boats to go party. It's Zaki time. It's phase party, beach party, should we say. That's why they've got no clothes on. They're ready to take a dip, mate. I love the observers.
We're role playing. We're role playing. Observers role playing with you. That's the worst part. I'm powerless.
You're powerless.
I mean, it's a good beach. It's a good beach. I'd be down. I'd be swimming out to the rocks. 100%.
I would have got about 2 seconds out. I'm going, nah, too far for me. Get me back to the beach. Get my feet back on land. Talk about feet back on land. T-Bone. He's going to park the car in. Obviously, these guys will be expecting for the south shift. They want it to come back towards that Everest and pray that they will find themselves in a good centralized position. I've stretched a little bit further over. Sometimes we see Foot actually do play for the high ground, but this time they've gone further out to the east to take the compounds.
Solid for now. Probably going to be flexing out a bit more, seeing what they can get. Maybe get a bit more loot. But they might also just get themselves a little bit of that to split going, get the late looters from the crates, right? Get two players in crates who keep looting. Itzwis gets scouting in, realizes quickly this is taken. This is contested area. We ain't getting it. We're not fast enough out of Severny. So Ascend will stay north.
We'll drop for them though. And yeah, I think they got caught a little bit on that rotation. They do have a lot of options. Store to try and hold out, pray for that north shift. We know Ascend would like to play from the outside edge. Again, I'd like Ascend today. They've played aggressive. I've seen so many times where they've tried to play the outside edge. They tried to play late into game and not get involved in fights. I just feel like when this team's in fights, they're doing well. And as a result, that's why we're seeing on that mid-pack of the table. I think they're going to try and close this day out, but been a pretty strong face. Well, they see the conquest coming their way. Mixie launches a couple of those mini shots towards him, swaps over towards the ace as he does dance around the rock, trying to pick the victim. Conquest, well, they're actually going to pull up on it, and they've actually caught him out on his own. He needs some reinforcements, but they're nowhere to be found, and that's a drive-by mini return. And Mixie is going to fall.
Well, I got the zone. That's about where the story ends. Raise Clan here, 2-man up now in Zaki. Starting the game is 3 already. Now put down even more. I'm wondering what the situation here is. I'm wondering what we've missed. He-Man is camping one side of the bridge and Matt Nicative camping the other. Matt Nicative does know, but I don't think He-Man knows. I think Sakura's Ensign thinks they are camping M-Man, and M-Man is hoping that they can just absolutely Uno reverse them.
Love it. Uno reverse. +4, potentially they want. So they will claim the victories, and Mad Nicative definitely knows because he's swapping over to the shotgun. Hoping, praying the crash is going to happen on the wall. Guys are working their way to generate an angle. And back to the replay. Mixie pops out the smoke, and as he gets the opportunity, great seat swap. There's one, there's two. Connections on the third for 21, and then explosive action will end it up. Great shot. Great initial kill off the rip.
Of times. Goes to show you a little bit of how the story is in the playing in this lobby, right? Like you look at this lobby, you're saying who's conquest, and Why are they in the same lobby as FaZe Clan? But the skill discrepancy, yes, it's there, but it's not that large. They catch up Mexi. They see him in a bad spot. They will punish immediately. No problems at all. So, all done by them. Gets himself the compound. And one big shift, and that compound is the best spot in the circle. So, absolutely worth it.
Stop talking about shifts, because we're going to get a shift back to Zaki at this rate, right?
I'm manifesting it right now.
You're getting ready to draw the next circle. Whoop, it's going here. Well, I'll tell you who is getting ready. That's Mad Negative. He's still got the shotgun in hand. That's not going to be the one to hit through the window, but he needs to be cautious. He has seen him. Looking for the nade. So there goes the launch from the nade. Pretty good. The explosion's there, and Mad Negative opens up him, and it's going to put him down. That is going to be punishing. Lucky enough for Secure Sense, they still have a player on that north side, but they're able to launch some shots their way because they got the high ground from the Shro Show.
You can't help yourself, Mark, right? You see Shro, it has to come out. It has to be said.
Has to, mate. It's always the Shro Show. You love it, mate.
Wait,
you love it.
Did Mad Negative just
knock
Iroh
he got it. Yep.
all the way across?
Yep.
What the hell? That is some crazy shots. Tekos gets one back at least. It's been the MVP in the past. Now Keta getting caught by Shro. Barely gets himself safe. Tekos gets the flush. Damage is done. It ain't ending cleanly for N-Man. Man, excuse me. But
good night.
Can't say the same. That's a bounce. That is, some might say, explosive.
That was an explosive. I love that. The more I cast you, the more we go. I love that you're drawing on my map feed as well. That you've already repositioned up where you want the zone to go. That's not happening, mate. It's not happening. The nades, the boys from M-Man, they thought that wasn't going to happen. Hit the car and bounce the player out. They're going to be able to get the option now to get the res. They'll be able to wrap their way around, and there's the go drawing. So we wait for the zone to descend. Bushido's got to descend in on the zone as well, but so has a free side. Looks like they're going to hunker in and potentially pop an emergency pick up.
Man, that was looking so good for M-Man. And then it just completely fell apart. We thought they were in control. They had crazy knocks coming out from Mad Negative. They had Shro all the way up on that tower. Now they're just bleeding members. Tekos anchoring. Trying to not give up too much space. The further he falls back, the more space Shro can get himself. So he does try and stay close. Shro picks up a scary piece of weaponry though. And I don't want to be Tekos right now. That man's running it down with a pump action shotgun. He's going to swing wide by this door in a second. Yeah, takes out the audio information. Might even get the flash. Might even get the blind. It does not matter. He's just swinging on by. And do you really want to be Tekos in that situation? That man is going left, right, shooting off the hip fire and absolutely destroying you. No chance. He's blocked. He blocked the blue zone. Yeah.
He blocked it as well. What a play. He blocked not just the blue, but the blue zone.
Uh-oh.
Now anybody goes on the other side. Shro goes down. Oh, he's been caught in the open. The shock is out of water, and Shakira Sensen will blossom. Able to get the reses back on. Unfortunately, it did look like M-Man's game to play. And hopefully we're not playing the Koho game. We go the other way. It's not Zaki, but we do play North.
We ain't going Zaki. We never are. It's the boring reality of being a realist. It is the way things are playing now. Xerath for Ascend, still alive. 10 minutes in. That's good. The man's popped off a good bunch of MK shots in the first game, and it's been very, very quiet since. Pressure's definitely on for him as well. The trial for Ascend as a German player, that is kind of the best step up you can make. But let's keep that thought aside for a bit. Slam G is getting breached, and ooh, Hive is lucky with that pre-nade.
Wow.
Lucky how that one timed out.
That was very lucky. Half a second before, that would have been a 2. Blue stick. Looking to try and gather the information now. As he over towards FPP, we get shot in the back. Schengen jumps down and around. He's going to get a quick flash. Confirm. He's going to use the opportunity to try and look through the window. He's got a flash, but he's got a barrel in hand. Gets a couple of shots, swings out to the other window, but gets sent hacking by Dante. That's another kill for them. And this is game 4. Antics. Full send in. Get any points you can. Doesn't quite get the nade connecting through. And Hive get opportunity to reset.
Big reset coming in. Slowing things down. Making sure they know what's happening and where. Stuff from Hive. Gotta be careful as well. The second they step out, they might start getting third party there. T-Bone. Been an absolute nuisance. Probably popped about 17 tires in this compound already. Gonna make life very, very awkward for anybody around. And this is where Slamgy slows it right back down. We've already lost the numbers. Arctics. Oh, you gotta be careful where you're going in this. But they now have all the interest in the world to delay this. They want to take defensive positions. They want to let Hive walk into them. Their setup, though, can't say that it's amazing right now. With Arctics being known, I don't think he's going to be able to achieve a ton from that building.
No, that's kind of why I see Presenti laying there. He's just keeping an eye on that compound, right? But the longer we wait, the more we're going to see teams like Footy Sports potentially have a little look. See if they can get any knocks. And a knock actually in the way of Hive is not going to be helpful. And actually might see someone like Arctics try and activate and cause damage. That's going to allow Footy Sports again to be more aggressive. I think Team Bard have come over. They're also ready. So again, a knock from here. We might see a crash. Footy Sports. Not much of a salvage game from them, but they will be looking eager to maybe close out day number 1 on top of the table. Currently sitting in second place, so there's an element of caution to the wind. So it might be a full blind send, but we wait for this one to erupt.
They do want to get out of here. Or do they want to fake it? No. Arctics is getting in that car. How many tires does he have left? Probably plenty. Or he wouldn't still be sitting in it. Now the smoke wall is going to have to do the trick. And they are trying to get out of there. Just gonna barely make it past.
Oh, you have to question if he didn't hit that first car, would it have been a different ending? Now he's going full send. Footy Sports lucky enough for them. They're getting the car and going. T-Bone actually does get him. It's opportunity. Now launches a few shots as the rest of the guys. Team Vard, they're already moving in towards zone, but Fairy Tale is waiting for them. And here comes that big shift. As I said, doesn't go towards that circle at northwest, but we go yet again towards the northeast corner, and Ascend now find themselves on the outside as they hold out teams like Tuntun's Hook. Be careful.
You gotta get down with the kids' memes. You would know exactly how Tung 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 Sahur is meant to be said. If you were 16 years old and spending your days on TikTok. You gotta get down with the kids. Xerath, we talked about him. Rather quiet day. Now trying to make things work. Now trying to punish the knocks. But no lethals. Only one molly. He's gonna have to slow things right back down. Brex has already called the other team. He's called Conquest on the west. So Scent is trying to sit up. They are trying to keep their edge clean. And they might get a few points. Might get a few kills doing so.
Good position. Definitely hold out any team working their way in from the west. At the moment, in his Conquest, is Chris. No helmet. There is one behind him he could have picked up, but he's run past. Back to cover. Rex on the compound now. Send on a split. If so, further afield, if he can get the angles on the edge of this wall, he'll be able to get a knock. But they've actually parked the cars into a really, really good position. Bit of a car force going to deny the shots from Ascend. Here comes the breach, but Barex welcomes that with a great nade.
A lot of nades exchanged. This one finds the mark. The molly does as well. The second molly looks good on Crumsy as well. That's beautiful. That's so much damage. Rex doesn't even have to face them. The util does all the tricks. Antlis, he's reversing. Trying to get the hell out of dodge while he still can. He doesn't want any more part of this. Are they aware, though, of Mounty? I'm not sure. Doesn't look like Chris had any idea. Mounty was on the coast side, so this could still be a bit of a pain. If I'm Mounty, I am not nading that. I'm waiting for a free kill right now.
I think it's Chris has an idea. And he is waiting. But yeah, he definitely knows. Shots coming in from the other side. The team applying pressure.
There we go.
Seeing the head Bomber from Monty. Need to be careful. As I said, third party action is coming in. They've got a bit of freedom of movement. Zone's about to pop though. Rest of his own teams have found their way in. There's a couple of players remaining just on the outside edge. Did get the initial knock, and here comes the reinforcements, but no. Wasn't expecting or hearing the shots above, and now gets punished.
Rough stuff. Solid day for Ascend overall. Not a great day. For the new blood. Conquest making their way on in. Antlers saw him desperately reversing earlier. He's now just trying to stay silent there, I think. But you can tell, you don't just drive Ply Hive. They have some absolute shots to be fired off. And he won't be making it there. Chris, Rex, dynamic duo. Classic Ascend duo. They're gonna have to make Ascend here. To a shack, maybe? Got a few shacks that look ripe for the taking. But wherever they go, they're gonna have teams waiting for them.
Yeah, it's part and parcel of the zone. Look, it's reversed and held up. Talk about being held up. Well, that's the plane crash. Fairy tale. Here's the nade. Cook the nade back. Create nade back. Bomb over. Actually living up towards his name. And other side of the zone, well, is an Ascend. It's a full send now. Hopefully they stop at the shack. We'll die neighbouring. And they'll drop not too far away.
Alive for a second. Not sure for how long. Is Brex getting that first hit off? Plane crash fight. Fairy tale. Out there wins today, and they're looking good in this one. Cleaning it up. Tung 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 sahur. They got Ascend on the other side. They weren't very long lived there either way. Foot Esports trying to make the push as well, Mark. They're cleaning their own edge. You've just seen Ascend attempt the same. It didn't work at all. This is looking like Tung 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 Sahur does not have an idea about Foot.
No, they don't. And initial shots will come through. Ain't he? Will confirm that Schengen. Fired. They have to reposition. They've got a bit of a rock now. See him jump in. The jump scout. T-bone. Some of the 5.56 back their way. But Vard with the reinforcements. Put head of my bad down. He's got a really good angle. He's kind of playing this sort of anchor play, but he's holding multiple teams, not just win or die at bay. Dun dun. Ain't see. Well, he's leading the charge. There's another knock.
Damage coming in from far now as well. Fairy Tale deciding to get involved. T-Bone doesn't have a whole lot of space. That is the thinnest tree. Swollebone cannot hide behind the tree. So tiny. He's got to get himself to the rock. Stays alive for another little bit. Kills haven't been stolen off yet, so that's good news. Pixelic's on a sliver of HP. It should get the first aid off. So for now, Foot Esports looking reasonably okay, but they're definitely not looking great.
No. Zone shift again. Towards the south, Fairy Tale find themselves on top of the hill yet again. Maybe looking to close today out with some strong numbers. Still punishing. We'll die here. Looks like help is coming, but not in the way of Foot Esports. There's a launch. Trying to catch anyone on the outside of the shack. The damage does happen. Second nade comes in, gets caught up by the picnic bench. Zante able to get the res on. Unable to get shots back. Storm still happy. Storm's got a lot of freedom of movement on this hillside. No.
I like it as well. They're not happy to sit inside the compound, right? They're trying to flex out. They're trying to be aggressive. One thing I would love to see from them is do it as a door. Get out, S2. This is... Oh, man. Iroh, you just got outskilled there. You can't be getting knocked, Iroh. What is that? Just Panzerfausted? Skill issue. Skill issue, if you ask me.
Stop trolling. Love it. Oh, that was... Look, he's moving. We've seen Panzers. That was the Panzer from earlier. It's just eventually landed a couple of maps late. Bushido looking a couple of maps late to try and get some points on the board and salvage something. Nate comes in. The heady comes over the top. Hakatori denies. Falling at his feet. More U2 will fall in. Bushido move a little bit further afield though. Celtic does get Hakatori. He's trying to get the med. Bushido have the better angles now and they should start punishing. Here comes a nade. They have. They've spread apart. Able to push Na'Vi in and then out of the zone. And we're tapping out in 9th place.
Beautiful. Well done by Bushido. Not only the angle on the north, but also on the south. They had a play up on the field. I think that was Crossback pulling up on the angle. Beautiful stuff. There's the Panzerfaust. You got to be a little careful to not kill your own teammates in the car with the backblast. You have to be a little bit aware. Other than that, it's a great pull-up mechanic. Now the blue zones come in. A nice little tap. Sends Hello My Bad sleep in, and that's a double blue zone. Actually, that's going to deal so much damage, but the damage comes back. Akeem steps over the top. He's not done just yet. Exile picks it up.
Oh.
Bolty.
Goes on the other side. It's a Bolty from Storm. Good play. Oh, and there's another one. He just puts his feet on the ground, and the second shot comes out, and it's a second knock. You can see he needs to try and find an opportunity to be rezzed, and it's not going to happen. Surely not. Vard's going for a full send. He's trying to keep him alive. Can he get there in time? Oh, he does. Just
barely. Just barely staying alive. Bushido on the other side, continuing where they left off. Cleaning up from the eastern edge. They've had a quiet day as well, but they do just wake up in the last few games, Bushido. They're just night owls. They're not early risers. Storm on request with 3 frags so far. Again, credit for pushing out of the compound so early. Credit for Nosferatu to get 400 damage with a bolt. There's another 40.
still going. He's still going. Good control. He's outside edge, so he's going to play in as the blue does. And his team has got an area which they can play from. Esports, though, were looking to climb the hill towards Fairy Tale. As I said before, have found themselves king of the hill. But for me, Esports, I need to focus back on Storm. Stop these players crossing over. Keep the numbers down. It's going to be down to Storm to alleviate some of that pressure. We see KDL puts themselves in a position trying to gather information. It's actually worth to sort of pitched up. And there we see agencies on the outside edge of the car. These shots will be tempting if you can exchange the headshot.
There's one. Pressure's on foot right now. Storm request. They're isolated enough here to actually clean this up. They could use their numbers advantage. They're not really getting bothered by anybody at this moment. God. Fairy Tale, if anything, not interested just yet. Nade is long range. It's a good arc. It's a bad bounce, but a bad bounce can get lucky sometimes. 80 almost blowing up. The second bounce is as intended. And Vard is knocked to his feet. The sweep's in full effect. This can still turn around. This can still go wrong, but Storm and Request, they are looking good in it.
They are. He's tucked in. We're going for a top 4 here. Initial nade comes through. Doesn't get the quite connection, but it does cause some damage. The Storm play. T-Bone's the final player for them. Flash goes over the top. No heavy util. Think about what he does. He swaps for some more util with his hands out from Vard, and no surprise, Fairy Tale want to close out day number 1. Aggressive, Foot taking 4th place, and it's a 4 versus 4 versus 4, and Fairy Tale are charging down the hill.
Activating at the right moment. Gotta be careful though. Any knock coming in towards Fairy Tale here, Mark, and they're giving up the game. They're giving Bushido the game, so they have to be wary, and it ain't easy. It ain't easy to stay clean in TPP, just like that. April Falls. Bushido hears that. Bushido knows that. Bobby Lobo has no space either. Not a whole lot to work with. Might have just put themselves on the wrong side of the zone here, Fairy Tale. Might have just bitten off a bit more than they can chew.
Lobo going to move forward. Having to use the smokes. Bushido are hearing, they are starting to activate. They've now got the numbers. The flash goes over the top. Molly will come back. The Molly's great as well. He does catch him. He's forcing him to move out of position as well. But he's on fire and he's charging towards Fairy Tale. More util will come through the smoke. That's going to stop on Malovo coming through. As he would tap out the remainder of the flame. He now finds himself with a neighbor. Confirmation done. Damage has been dealt as well. Storm down bodies, but causing huge issues for Fairy Tale and handing arguably this game so far to Bushido.
Both ways. Fairy Tale doing the damage to Storm on request, and Storm on request to Fairy Tale. And like you said, game might just be handed to Bushido, but Conf gets himself 2. Oh no, this was their game. This was their push, their sweep. Conf says no.
Doesn't know. Doesn't know. Bushido, 9 kills. They needed this game. They always leave it to the last game. As you say, they're the night owls of the lobby. But there's a Fairy Tale. Well, it's to be told. Bomalovo now using the rock to his advantage. The smoke will give him some cover as he's able to look over the top. And Brightside! Oh, it's causing destructive damage. They've gone for the res. Bushido had the numbers, but Fairy Tale are there. Can they close this one out? Crossberg says no. Brightside will fall down. It's going to force the numbers to continue to go back down. It's technically a 2v2 v1 as the numbers continue to fall on the side of the Erangel Hill.
It's a good nade. Conf has to go forward. Gonna dip into the smokes. Gonna delay. Gonna try and get that first aid off. Somehow they still haven't gotten Bombilovo in the fight. He's still busy. I see a bit of movement on that minimap though, so it should be a matter of time. Now Bombilovo caught in the open. If he gets nailed here, this game's almost over. He's the last one up. It's 2v1v1. And Nosferatu, he leaves it to the last second. He might have left it too late. 36 HP, 26. If Bombilovo ever turns around, it won't matter. Bushido takes it, 2v1.
I love this. Bombilovo knows he wants to get the high ground. He knows he's got to catch his team out. Great spray will go through. He backs away. Knows the nades are coming. He hasn't got huge amounts of ammo. But look at how this player uses the terrain to his advantage. Little bit of a bunny hop. Not fully exposing. 9 kills at the moment. But Bombilovo wants to take the 2 versus 1. And he's taking it aggressive.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's so good for now.
They've lost him.
If they don't hear him now, if they don't hear his steps too early, if they don't have some sort of cover, he could be absolutely nailing them from the top. He walks up, he's done the flank, he's done the damage. 1 goes down. Can he find the second? Bombilovo, no bullets. He puts away the gun. What is going on? 15, 12 bullets in the mag.
12 bullets in the mag, no vest. He's going to take the opportunity now to get the med back on. They're not going to be able to get the res, but it's quite out in the open. Bombilovo's got the opportunity to close this one out. Are we going to see Fairy Tale claim 3 victories here? As he back down, you can see he's looking. He can see the player.
Oh my God.
But he's going to play peekaboo over the top. He scores.
No
he shoots,
way.
He gets it. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And it's a Fairy Tale ending. 3 games, 11 kills. What a game. This team is underrated and they're closing out. TPP is insane. What a game. Bombilovo, a massive shout. The fact that he was able to give up the fight, he knew the 1v1 was drawing him in. He played the risk. He went up the hill and he lost the bodies. And then he played the train to his advantage. Again, Bushido lost him and he moves all the way around the outside and he hits hard for a victory.
Listen, you can be sitting in chat, right? And you can be saying, all this TPP is not for me. The wall sniffing. There's no skill in this. But if you watch this clutch from Bombilovo and the way he uses that rock, the way he angles his camera around the rock as well, if that's not a skill to you, then I don't know what you're watching. I don't know. We're watching different games. That is crazy moves coming out of Bombilovo. The man who got known for using the M16, right? That was his thing, the burst M16. Was his brand for a while. Dominates that late game.
Insane. Everyone's got the same tools in their chest to use, right? Everyone's got the TPP. Everyone's got the angle. It takes magic. It takes creativity from some of these players to execute it to perfection. I love it's Chris's charge. He's someone also using it to his perfection. But again, we're just seeing Fairy Tale, Fairy Tale, Fairy Tale, Fairy Tale. It seems to be the story here. They claimed game number 1. They claimed game number 3. Now they claim game number 4. It's going to be down to the rest of the lobby if they can do anything to catch up with them.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We talked about their points after game 3, right? We said, what was it, 38?
Yep.
38-3 was disgusting. That was a crazy day. They seem to be a little ahead right now. They don't even get that game like fed in any sense, right? They play up to the plane crash. They figure that out. They win that fight super easily. They shift down into the valley. I said they might have bitten off more than they could chew, and I don't think I was necessarily wrong there, right? That was a lot of things to be doing. And it comes down to a 1v2, and the man's ice cold.
Jeez Louise. It's just insane. Insane play. I love this T-Bone. I've got to get my kill. I've got to get my kill. You're going to get his
Guys,
kill.
please, give me one.
Yeah, one. This game was quite explosive as well. I did like Rondo. Again, I've mentioned this a lot, especially when it comes to the TPP circuits. I enjoyed that we only played the maps once. It allows for creativity. You can't sacrifice and have a bad game. You've got to maximize every single opportunity you can, and with some of the controls that we've seen from some of these teams are not all about the fairy tale. We've seen great plays from Win or Die, not being able to convert. We've seen great plays from Team Ascend. We saw Foot claw out a win as they leave Godok. Individual plays have also meant for great victories. I felt like some of the games, despite we had some other winners, there were some teams that were shining somewhat above the rest.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of teams that had like one good game, right? One good pop-off game or one really, really solid one. We saw Summer Request almost win in that one. We saw Win or Die do really well in some of the games. Seeing some really good salvages. Ascend in the first game looking super solid as well. But the consistency, the level of play that Fairy Tail has shown today, nobody got close. And I don't think you can say they got fed at all. I think they just dominated so many of their fights.
It's control. So definitely for the one word that will sum up sort of that Fairy Tail for me is the ability that they can fight and they get high ground. And when they've got high ground, they're very, very difficult to take it away. We saw Win or Die disengage from the opportunity that they had the high ground over them. Some really good plays, a lot of movement. I think movement has also been a very big takeaway for me today. Bushido against that Na'Vi split there. Obviously, we spoke about the movements with the Fairy Tail. Look at Foot Esports, though. That was insane. The ability to use the trade. Everyone has the same tools in their chest, right? But it's how you apply them. And this is the prime example, right? He knew he wanted to take the 2 versus 1. Great spray. Most people will stay on that rock and fight it out, right? Mm-hmm. Not him. He knew if he dropped the shoulder, if he lost the player's line of sight, he stood the opportunity to get the initial knock. That makes it a 1 versus 1. Use the cameras you mentioned to perfection. That nade would have got him, but he took the fight to the end game. And you know what? Well-deserved MVP in my books.
Oh, for sure. There's no question there. There's no question there. Yeah, again, very well played. The flank is good. The execution, not overstepping, right? There was a moment where he took his gun away, and I thought, what is happening now? Is he out of bullets? Did he have no ammo? But that's just sort of... Some of these guys are so wired, right? They're so locked into the situation. Sometimes the thoughts cross their brain a little bit faster than they would maybe make sense. But what a clutch. What a clutch from Fairy Tail. What an evening from Fairy Tail. 3 wins in 4 games. And I think when we look at the leaderboard in a second here, then it's going to be very well reflected of what they've been doing to this lobby tonight.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, there have been certain teams that have sort of taken maps to their advantage. They might not have got the win, but we've seen them play well. I do want to mention Bushido. Last map for me, they were looking good for a victory. Yeah. That team seems to leave it to the last minute, right? They seem to leave it to the last couple of games. They climb some points, but they're in 13th place. But yeah, look, no surprise. Oh my God. Let's give them the extra point. Arguably 60 points, give or take, right? There you go, right. 60 points, give or take, right? Yeah. In first place. That is insane for 4 games.
Yeah, that's really good when you're playing 6 games. That's not normal when you're playing 4. So crazy stuff coming out of them. I've seen this before from a FaZe clan, right? That was just completely dominating and just getting every single game. I think, 3 games in a day as well is what FaZe did. Now Fairy Tail's done it and shown up to the party. And the crazier thing is that they've won 3 games and Foot is just 13 points behind, right?
Yeah. Foot only really had that one game that got the win, but they was able to get towards the end zones, right? They're getting kills, and that's the big thing. 30 kills, they're current kill leaders. It's just the placement points. You got to remember, Fairy Tail, it's this is the other side, right? Let's take a little bit of a negative. It's hit or miss. If they get to the placement points, if they get to a top 8, argument says, according to the stats on the board as it's at the moment, is if they get top 8 co-o, they're going to get the victory. But if they don't get top 8, they bomb out in 15th place. So it's a bit hit or miss. Obviously, the data set is a little bit low. We do have 3 days of play. So let's see if Fairy Tail can keep the momentum up, because some teams burn out early. And you've got to remember, a lot of these teams, especially for me, and man, expect to be higher up in this leaderboard. They're going to go away. They're going to watch back this VOD and go, how and what did we do wrong, and how do we change our approach these final 2 days?
Yeah. And I strongly expect a lot of the right side of the leaderboard to come back. I think Ascend, Navi, Imman, FaZe, SlamG, that's a pack of teams that I absolutely would not bat an eye if they were on the left side of the scoreboard. I think some of them are going to come back. We have a lot of variance in these games, right? Things can go south very, very quickly. So I expect a lot of them to come back. We'll have a look at how the prize pool is split up between these teams, but keep in mind that is not what's going to happen. It might happen, but that's not locked in just yet. We will have 2 more days of games for you guys. 2 more sets of each map once, and then teams can lock in that prize pool.
Yeah, I think that's a key point. We've got 2 more Miramars, 2 more Wrangles. Like, so if they're maps that you favour, I said that Fairy Tale at the beginning of the day, like Miramar, they proved me wrong. It seems like every map that came apart from that Taego, and they did shine. So look, there isn't much more else they can do. They've got a few things to go look back on, I think, from a Fairy Tale point of view. But I think for them, they're going to look away and how do we keep the momentum in these next final 8 games? And we're going to split across the final 2. What can they do? The rest of the lobby, though, they need to figure out how to stop Fairy Tale. How can we stop them getting another 59-point day? Can we catch up with them? And as you say, Esports is doing well, and I think that team's got the consistency to potentially take top spot. But we've already seen it once before. They held top, and at the last minute, they threw it in the last game. So they've got a lot to learn as well.
Yeah, they're still figuring things out as well, but they are definitely a team that we expect to do well. I think second place looks good for FUT Esports. Fairy Tale being so dominant is not what we had on the cards, but we talked about that plenty. So many teams on that scoreboard that can do massive things. So many teams with tons and tons of talent, right? Split across this lobby. So it's going to be super exciting when we come back tomorrow. And it's going to be super exciting when we close things out on Sunday. So if you guys want more PUBG action, come back tomorrow. Same time, same place. We'll be there. And yeah, play some more PUBG.